Hello everyone, welcome to today's Sunday/Monday stream with me and Horns. We're going to be continuing to go through Inazuma. Stop that. No. Yeah, last time I did a quest with, what was her? Ayaka? Was that her name?
Ayaka, yes. You got it right.
Why am I frozen again? Stop it.
You can find everything and anything in
Give me a sec.
groceries.
But yeah. And we did like some
It's hard to remain on
festival.
dry land.
I have to do another character quest, it looks like. I'm pretty sure. In order to continue with the storyline, the main storyline.
You can find everything.
I don't think the second one is nearly as long.
Oh gosh. Why can't I click on anything? Okay, that's nice. Everything is going haywire.
Whoa.
I can't click on stuff.
Control Alt Delete Escape.
Huh?
Do Control Alt Delete then Escape.
What do you
You
mean?
can find
Like,
everything.
close out the game?
anything in Tsukumomono
No.
groceries.
Never mind. Just don't worry about it. Can you still attack? Can you still
I
play
can
the
attack,
game?
but I can't check quest. Is it B? I don't know how to pull up the quest.
You could do Tab and then down.
I can't do that.
Press and
either.
hold. You can't
Oh.
press and hold Tab.
Maybe.
Then move your mouse to the lower corner.
Cold beer after.
Yeah,
we
there.
go. Oh, this is gonna be quite annoying. Hello. Wow.
Oh, I know what it is. Your mouse is like not centered for Genshin.
It's because I went into 1080p and it's now flipping out. I need to do the firework one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, this is holy shit, that's so annoying.
Day's work.
Great.
Nothing like it.
Alright, I guess I can't use this program. That's freaking annoying. My screen's gonna be tiny as shit. Oh, I hate technical stuff. That's so freaking annoying.
You can find everything and anything in Tsukumomono.
Can I please? I can't play the game. Is there another way of doing this, like without a mouse?
Why did you explore?
Because it is.
I don't know. You might need to just restart the game. Oh, Bushakaka, you came back. Bushak.
Hey, Bush, how's it going?
Bushakakan.
We're having technical issues.
If you ever
It's
want to trade
fantastic.
tactics, I'm always ready.
Error.
I made my screen go from tiny to big, and now it is flipping out. I guess I'm gonna have to exit. I can't even exit. I'm gonna have to crash the game.
Come and try some creative cooking.
I think this time it turned out better than before.
Gotta love when the game crashes. Oh, technical stuff. That's annoying. How you doing? How's your day been? Oh, nice. Yeah, we haven't really done anything. I like get into the game and it like already crashes. Or doesn't work how I want it to. I have to play it at mini resolution now. Hooray! It'll work. I can't see anything now. All right, I'm back in the game. Well, I should be back in the game. Well, while I was doing that, we're going to the wheel. It's gonna take forever. High games of 2013.
Okay.
Games within the last decade.
Dude, games in the last decade. All right, easy clap. Dark Souls, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, Elden Ring, and Breath of the Wild. And Genshin
Wow, that was
Impact.
so biased.
Fine, I'll do one Souls game. So
Which
Elden
Souls
Ring.
game?
I'll pick Elden Ring. Like Dark Souls 1, classic. Dark Souls 2, probably my favorite out of the Souls games. Dark Souls 3, really solid game. But Elden Ring is the thing that's just kind of all of those things encapsulated. The problem is it's just a little too big to want to play over and over again. Genshin Impact. I don't need to say anything more about
Try
that.
some creative cooking. Why do new explorers make
Smite,
mistakes over
for
and
me.
over again?
Right, can you interact with things now?
Oh yeah, I can because I can't see anything.
You can't see anything?
My screen has been cut into like 1/4
How does that happen?
because I did it in 1080 versus 4K
Why'd you do that?
because the game was lagging really badly. I shouldn't be streaming a game in 4K when I might even stream it in 4K.
Honestly, I don't even
so
think the
much
game is
resolution.
made to be streamed in 4K.
It's not. But since my computer was, made the game 4K, it's obviously I'm able to see it on my full screen TV. So when I shrink it or when I change the resolution, instead of it, going full screen but 1080p, it shrinks the screen to tiny size. And I don't get it why it does that, but it does it. It's ridiculous. It should not be doing that, but it is.
If you weren't so far out of the way, I'd come over and try to help troubleshoot. But you're pretty
I will
far.
figure it out later. It's obviously something I wanted to try to do before stream. I just didn't have time to do it, and I thought it was going to work. When I did I had this program that makes it blow up to full screen, but then the mouse is misaligned. So maybe I can figure out how to get that dealt with later, but not on stream.
You're talking to the kids.
Oh no, I'm not going for the kids right now.
Oh.
I'm going for. Where is it? I was going for the little thing that was over here.
Quake!
Okay, so Elden Ring. I don't think
Yeah, that's what it makes sense.
that whole series. Genshin Impact again. This game's been extremely. Last of Us. 1.
The more
Not
the
two.
merrier. First
Yeah.
round's on
Last
me.
of Us
Was one
1.
in the last decade?
Yeah, it came out in 20.
I assume it has,
17?
but it's been. No, it hasn't. I'm pretty sure it was before.
Ha! Came out in 2013.
Okay, I was gonna say. It had to
June
have been really
14th,
close.
2013. It counts.
Okay. I was like, I thought I remember working somewhere else when that came out. But yeah, my last of Us was really good. There you are.
As much as I harp on it because it could have been so much more, Breath of the Wild is still a pretty fun game.
Gather!
That came out in 2018.
For me, it's Final Fantasy 14 is up there.
Final Fantasy 14 came out?
Well, it's still being made. So, you know.
Well, yeah,
like,
but when did it first come out? It first came out in
technically,
2010.
It was 2010. But
So
that was,
that's actually not a game that came out after 2013.
yeah, but then they remade it. Like, you can't play the original game. Like, that 2010 is unplayed. Like, they destroyed it. They literally destroyed that game. And it,
Well, that's not why I'm not including Warframe. Warframe came out in 2012.
well, is it still having updates though?
Well, yeah, of course it is.
So, because
And
I
it's
could say like Heaven's Ward or Stormblood or Shadowbringers. You know,
But I'm
those are all
specifically leaving-
separate games theoretically within the game.
yeah, but that's why I'm specifically leaving out Warframe. I really like Warframe.
Oh, you can,
But-
you can say Warframe. If it,
Well, I'm not going to because that's cheating. Because it's not a game that launched after or on or after 2013.
yeah, like the official game was, I think, I want to say 2012, 2013.
We're looking for
is
the
when
great Mujina
Realm Reborn
yokai.
came out, which is the official Final Fantasy 14 game.
Do you know where it lives?
Basically, when I
Great
made the
Mujina
suggestions for this, I was
yokai?
thinking
What's
games
that?
that were released within the last decade. So recent games
Huh?
that were very
You've
recently
never heard of
released.
it?
Yeah, but I still think
Most
MMOs are tricky because you know you can't say like WoW back in what 2000 or something like that was incredibly good, but nowadays it's terrible. So are you comparing WoW to the past, or are you comparing WoW to the previous? You know, like with all
actually,
the
I don't
changes?
know what you're talking about. WoW is still really good.
Everyone who's I've seen talk about it thinks it's trash now. So
It's a sneaky
Well, that's
monster that
because it's
goes
not
around
the game it
playing
used
tricks
to
on
be.
people. It's
I-
got
I
magic
got in-
powers
who love
and
the-
can
who
even
love the
shapeshift
game.
into anything it wants.
I
One
recently
time,
picked
the
up
great
WoW and I
Mujina
had a
yokai
great time
stole
with
some
it.
rights
did you
from
beat
our
all the way
house.
through it? Did you get
And
to the
this
very,
other
very
time,
end? Like
it
nowadays
pushed my
content?
dad into the river.
Yeah.
But,
I got
Very
current and I
naughty
caught
little
up.
monster. Cause we finally
It was
found out
very
how to chase it
interesting.
away.
I just know that you know, like Asmongold, for example, or Bell, or Preacher, like all of them were like veterans of the game who loved the game and think the game is not that good anymore.
My dad
Well,
said that
do
the
you wanna
great
know my
Mujina
opinion on that?
yokai likes to play tricks
So,
on people who stay
a
out all
lot
the
of
time and don't come
people-
home when they're supposed
A lot
to.
of the people that are coming forward saying they don't like
So
what
all
WoW
we need
was
to do
are
is
people that have been
chase it
playing
away.
WoW for a
Then we
very
can come
long
out and play
time.
whenever we want.
And they have been so used to the way
This
WoW used to
monster
be.
sounds scary
And so when
though.
WoW starts
you guys
evolving
afraid?
and changing, they don't like it. It's the same thing with how a lot of people
Surely your
that play
parents must
Yu-Gi-Oh
be worried
are not
about
liking
you.
how Yu-Gi-Oh has evolved because it's changed. It's not the same type of Yu-Gi-Oh they used to play.
Yeah, but you could argue about Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy has changed, but the people who played it from the beginning still love it and think it's like very relevant and current to, you know, like they kept true to the game versus differ and become pretty much garbage.
Oh,
You
not
know,
really.
like if they lose
I
the
told my
passion,
dad
if
that
they-
I was going
they
to find
lose
the great Mujina yokai with
the
some
original
friends,
drive of
and
what
he
the game
didn't
was
even
really
say
supposed to
anything.
represent, then the game is not a good game anymore potentially.
Well, that's
So
fair.
we think it must be weak
And
right
that's what I
now.
think
But
is what
It's
happened with
probably hiding
some
away so it
games
can rest.
have to market to a
Yeah,
newer audience.
So as long as we
I
get
don't know
home
if you
before
know
it gets
this.
its strength back,
Well, you definitely
be
know
safe.
this. Warframe does not cater very well to the new player
something
experience.
sounds very strange about all
It
this.
was like
But
when
Paimon
you and
can't
Chroma
say
were playing,
exactly
it was
what
very
it is.
confusing. Things weren't like making sense. The story was a little jumbled. It didn't. Things weren't really aligned that well. And I think that's because they still like.
Paimon
It's
feels like
better.
The great
It is
Mujina
better.
yokai
Like,
is one of those
I cannot
storybook
emphasize that
monsters
enough.
that doesn't
Their
exist
new
in
player
the real
experience
world.
is leagues above
tell
what it
them
was.
so they don't waste all their
Right.
time looking for it.
But it still has
Oh,
a lot of
children,
problems.
Listen up! There's no need to go
Um,
looking for the great
There's not a
Mujina
lot of
yokai,
ways to
alright?
help you
Because it
learn
isn't
how
real.
to use the user interface and understand what is all the information that's being fed to you is. There's
No
not a lot of
way.
information for exploring your ship and
impossible.
explaining
My
what
dad
things
wouldn't
do
lie to me.
and how to use them and which
Your folks
parts
are
are.
just
They're just like,
worried about
oh,
you is
input
all.
the segment.
They
It's like,
don't
okay,
want
but
you
where
wandering
does the
too
segment
far
go?
from home because
You
it's
know,
too
like
dangerous.
Right.
That's not true. The
I don't
great
want to say
Mujina
it needs a
yokai
little bit
is
more hand holding,
definitely
but it needs a
real.
little bit more hand holding. Because
Yeah,
there's still a
your
lot of
Nia's
stuff
even making
that's
some
just
weapons for us. And
complicated
then
about
she's gonna
Warframe.
show us how
Oh,
to
yeah.
blow it up.
So, but like the
Your Nia,
medium to
huh?
late game
Wait,
Warframe experience
as in
is awesome
fireworks prison
because
break,
you've had the time to really get into the groove
We
of
told her all
Warframe. You've
about the
leveled
great
up
Mujina
weapons. You've
yokai.
got a good
She said we
setup
shouldn't be
for
scared of
your
it.
weapons
We
and
should learn
gear
how to
and
chase it
everything.
away instead.
And then you get into the higher level missions, that's a challenge, and you've
We've
got
been
all
waiting
this
for
really good
ages
gear,
now.
and it's fun.
And finally,
And the story is good,
Nia
and
said
you've
that
learned
today's
how
the
to
day.
understand the story at that point. But like the point of entry is not that
Your
great.
Nia
So people
plays
that are
with us
trying
and
to get
tells us
into
stories
Warframe
all the
are like,
time.
this
She wouldn't
may
tell
not
a
be my
lie.
thing.
But
But you
Come
don't
on,
hear the
let's
people
get
playing
out of here and
Warframe
go
complain
find
about
your
it
Mia.
because the players that are playing it are having an amazing experience because they're catering to it.
Right.
Or catering to the continued player thing.
that very well.
Whereas
The
World
Colonel
of
is only
Warcraft
trying to
is
look out
not
for them.
fully catering to the old player
Who knows
thing.
what your Mia's
They are
got to do
catering
with
a
this?
lot to
Let's
the
follow
new
the kids
player
and see
experience.
what's going on.
I
I,
guess, but I from all the videos I've been gathering, it seems there's way more to it. It's basically they don't have a great management team, and therefore you could actually very much tell that there's no direction in the game and that the game is all over the place. It's kind of
And
like Lord of the Rings
that's-
and throwing Frodo, to go on an adventure, and all of a sudden just taking Frodo out, and then maybe making him come back out of nowhere. Like it just feels like it was very. Like there was just no passion. It was just all business decisions versus passion and really caring about what the game was actually going to be supposed to be, becoming. And that's not like talking about mainstream. That's like talking about like story, for example. That's what I've been hearing, from like.
That's interesting because as a newer player getting into the game, I felt the exact opposite. I could feel the love of the game. I could feel the decades of everything that's been building up for all of World of Warcraft.
And
even
remember,
though I'd never
earlier
been
on
there.
is like very good. So, I feel like it's like the later on stuff.
The later on stuff is what I'm talking about. In one of the things, like I did a lot of research getting into World of Warcraft because not just am I decades late because I've never played World of Warcraft before.
Yeah.
And I love a good story, and of course I'm sure if people are playing a ton of it, there's got to be a good story behind it, right? So I'm researching the story of Azeroth, I'm looking into what World of Warcraft's lore is, and I'm like, wow, this is awesome, this is fascinating.
Right.
Then I watched the World of Warcraft movie. I'm like, oh, this is a great movie. If you actually if you don't know anything about World of Warcraft, the movie's not going to be very fun. But if you actually have played the game and are a fan of the game, then oh, this movie's great.
Right.
Which is sad that we may not get a second one. It did well in China, so
Cheer
maybe
up,
we'll get a
guys.
second
Don't
one. I
be
hope
so
so.
down. She
But,
was only joking back there. How could the great Mujina yokai not exist?
and then I played through everything.
But we've never seen it for ourselves.
I played through
That's
the
because
Burning
the great
Crusade.
Mujina yokai
I
is
played
extra
through
powerful. And it's
WoW
exactly
Classic.
why
I
need your
played
help,
through
isn't it?
Battle for Azeroth. I played through Mists of Pandaria, and I even played through the newest
Don't be
content.
discouraged.
Right.
And playing
Remember,
through the newest
if you want to
content,
be a hero,
I got
you
to
gotta have
see
patience. And
so
wisdom
much
too.
love and care for the game.
Even if you can't
They
find it
had
right now, it'll
they were
definitely show
pulling
up before the
references
fireworks show starts.
from through the game's history. So
remember to come and pick up your weapons from me
as a little
before
bit of a
then,
spoiler
okay?
for people, in the newest World of Warcraft stuff,
No matter
you are
how
currently
powerful the
going
great Mujina
through
yokai might be,
the
that's no match
afterlives.
for my especially
When
neat
a character
fireworks.
dies,
Just light 'em up
they
and
are
you'll
sent
start off
through
no
this
problem.
arbiter who judges their soul and sends them to
It's up
the
to you
appropriate
guys to protect
afterlife.
your homes,
Not
your
like
crops,
heaven or hell,
and your
but
folks.
like what they did in life. Oh, this person
Got it.
was a warrior,
Thanks,
so
Miss
I'm going to
Oimiya.
send them
We'll
to this
try and be more
gladiatorial
patient.
arena, and that's their afterlife.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
they get to
Hold up a sec.
be fighting in
I
this
have here's some
gladiatorial
paper
arena
for
and
you
stuff.
guys. One
Or
each. Remember to get
this
to your
person
parents and
was
tell them
a
to
kind and gentle and like
Just tell them
natureful
it's from
soul.
Yoimiya.
So
They'll
I'm
know
gonna
it's
have
about.
them go into this like
Okay,
elven wood
thank you,
area of
Yoimiya.
sorts thing.
We're gonna go
Uh,
back now.
It's just
Thanks, Yoimiya.
everybody
Come
had
play with us soon.
their own
Sure
kind
thing,
of
will do.
afterlife of
Take care on the
sorts.
way back, and I'll see you
And
later.
a lot of characters that like big name characters in World of Warcraft do die. Because of course they do. Like they have to move the story.
So it was you guys.
But going back
Just as
to
much
these
for the way the kids
afterlife
described
places,
you.
you're
No
getting
worries,
to
though.
see
I'm
some
not
of these
blaming you.
characters return. Getting to
The
see
Great Mujina
how
Yokai
they've
is
grown in the
pretty popular
afterlife
with the
and stuff.
kids,
And I think
so
that's such a
of course they're gonna
fascinating
get upset
thing.
if someone
Right.
tries to tell them it doesn't exist. Okay,
That
but
is
it definitely
interesting.
doesn't exist.
And so when people
Right?
say, "Oh man, they're ruining the
The first
game,"
time
I'm
I
like,
heard
"What do
about
you
it, I
mean?
knew
This is
straight away
great.
that was probably
This is
something the
awesome."
parents had
I
come
think
up
a lot
with
of people
to stop
like
the
I
kids
know
from
there's
running off all
supposedly
the
a guy
time.
who like studies the lore, like he's like dived into the lore of like a lot of the Warcraft stuff, World of Warcraft, and he says it contradicts each other later on. And this guy like heavily was invested in it, and like they're like that doesn't make any sense. I can, by the way, I tested this because I've never played the game, but that's why I remember one of the people saying that, who
No.
loved the story, and then they came out with later stuff, and he was like, "This doesn't make any sense," because it contradicts. Let's say expansion 2. I know there's like actually I think there's like what 7 or 8 expansions in that game. I mean, it's huge. How many
Something like
expansions
that.
are in that? But
I know,
anyways.
like, I know there's the
But
first
when the
one.
kids asked me
There's
about it,
Wrath of the
I
Lich
didn't
King,
want to
Burning
break it to them.
Crusade,
I just told them that it
Mist of
looks
Pandaria,
cute and likes to play
Battle
pranks
for
and doesn't
Azeroth,
hurt people.
the current ones. That's at least 6 right there.
And you have to also consider, I think people who play World of Warcraft, like there's like 2 types of players. There's players who go through the story, and there's players that play the end game. And a lot of the like World of Warcraft was known for having the best fights, like end game fights. I'm talking about like mechanics and all that, and that changed dramatically later on. So those heavy hardcore players were disappointed with how the change was. It was like for the worst. It wasn't fun or whatever.
I think it was very fun. It let different
So,
classes
I
do different
guess
things.
now the
Like,
kid's impression of the Great
one of the
Mujina
things that
Yokai
I
is
got
mostly
because
influenced
of
by
the
me.
character I was playing at the time, basically what it did is
in a
there was an
way,
ability I
this
had
monster is all
that
a
was basically a
product of
Captain
your
America shield. I could
creativity?
toss it, it would do some damage and draw aggro, and it would bounce from enemy to
Maybe
enemy, so I could
so.
attract a lot of
In any
aggro.
case, I'm not gonna be
That was
the
my
one
job.
who
I was a
exposes
paladin.
it.
It was my job to attract as much aggro as I can to
Sure,
tank it
it's
all up.
likely that the
Oh, yeah, yeah.
parents just wanted to
And
stop
for
the kids
each
from
person I
staying out
hit
all the
with it,
time.
I
But
would
they could have
also
easily had other
gain a
reasons
bit of a
too.
health shield, so I'd get some damage mitigation.
If I just
And
go
I
ahead
got a
and tell them
skill
that the
that
Great
basically
Mujina
said
Yokai doesn't
I get to
exist
throw
without knowing
out
the full
5
story,
of those
then
shields at
who
once
knows?
instead of just
I
throwing
might be
1.
doing more harm than good.
And I'm like, that's busted, but that's also really cool.
Besides, they're just kids. They should be
It's loud as
allowed to
fuck,
believe
too,
it
the
if it
sound
makes them
effect.
happy.
Mm.
That's
Have
more
you
important to them
have you
than
done like
questioning
actual
what's
like I'm talking
real
about
and what isn't.
hardcore end game and well like
Yeah,
parts
no,
where,
I was doing
like
some
if
really
you
hardcore
screw up
raiding.
once, you die, you kill the whole party.
Yes, that happened a couple times because I
Yeah.
was still learning.
Heck, I entertain
But I
my
was
fair
with a
share of
group that was
fantasies too.
slowly teaching me and helping me understand what I did
Fire
wrong so I
diamond
could
that
do
spins
better.
around and shoots
Yeah.
out lights that are all the colors of the rainbow. Ooh, the mist spirits that live far off in the
No, no.
mountains
Anyways,
and
like
guide you
that,
to fairylands
that's why
if you can
I
find
hear
them.
when they compare it like to like diving into Final Fantasy or end game of Final Fantasy.
I know that they
Because
don't
end game
really
Final Fantasy
exist, but I
is
still enjoy
considered
believing
easier
in them.
than World of Warcraft.
If someone came up to me and started telling me to
raids,
stop being
but
so
there
stupid,
are
they don't
certain raids
exist.
in
Nah,
Final
nah, nah.
Fantasy that are equivalent or harder. It's just like because they made like super hard raids that not many people have been to this day. There's like 3 of them or something like that, or 4 of them.
Mhm.
I give
But,
them the evil eyes and tell them to get the heck
yeah,
out of my
yeah,
face.
because that's why.
It's just
I mean,
so
I'm a Final
annoying.
Fantasy player, so of course I know a lot of Final Fantasy stuff, but nothing about the World of Warcraft stuff. So
Yeah, so I'm not gonna say like I'm an expert on World of Warcraft because I only played for about 4 or 5 months. But, or as
Right? So
World of
a lot of
Warcraft
it's
players
made
would say
up.
a small
It's
sample.
also really
But-
awesome
Yeah.
and kind of magical.
But like I
so it's
played
not up to anyone
through
else to tell
the
me what's
vast majority of the story for
The
everything
things we believed and the experiences we
because
had
I
when we
love
were
a
young
good
turn
story,
into our
and so I
priceless
wanted to
treasures
get
as we
all the
grow up.
story for
Yeah.
everything.
And this is also another thing. Like, of course, you didn't really probably have this issue, but there are like certain raiders, or the game's gotten salty, or basically like a bad rap on people just treating other people like crap when it comes right down to it in the raids.
Oh yeah,
And that
that's
gives
kind
you,
of
like,
what
huh?
that's kind of what got me to stop. I was only playing it
When you
because
were
I
kids,
had a
surely you guys
friend
believed in
who
things
was
like
really.
heroes who slew
uh,
dragons and sacred swords that cut through darkness.
I'm not
It's
going to
the
talk
same
about the
thing.
reason they got into it, but they got into the game and they're like, "Hey, come
If
play
we
with me."
tear
I'm like,
apart these
"Sure,
kids'
why not?
fairy tales
I
now,
miss hanging out with
what
you.
else
Let's
do
do
we
it."
have to tell
Yeah.
them?
So I'd play it
That
a lot,
Inazuma's locked down,
and
all the
we
grim
played
tales
together,
of the
and it
Vision
was
Hunter
great.
Cree.
But
I think
the
it's a bit
party
too
we
early
were
for
playing
that.
with, so that we'd have a full party instead of having to deal with a random.
Yeah.
Way too early.
They
for
were
sure.
very aggressive and rude, and they did not. The person I was playing with didn't appreciate that, and so we ended up just kind of stopped playing WoW, pretty much.
Whether
But
you
no,
understood
yeah.
me or not, don't
Definitely
you worry.
environment's a huge thing
I'll take care of the
in
kids
MMOs,
and make
or
sure
the
they stay
experience
safe.
of playing with friends or people you meet at least in the game that you consider friends. So it's understandable and unfortunate, you know.
Okay, it's about time I headed back. The Nagnohara fireworks
I
show
like this
is
girl's
just around the corner,
personality.
and there's still a lot of
She's
things to
great.
get ready.
He's so happy.
Naganohara fireworks show.
But anyways, I guess that, you know,
hosted
like
by your family
it
or
is tricky to categorize, you know, an MMO because there's different levels, like different, you know, expansions.
Well,
You include that
yeah.
expansion
I
with
mean,
this,
that's why our
or you
name is
play
on
from
the
very
event.
beginning. When
It's
does
well known throughout
game end?
Inazuma.
You know, like Final Fantasy 11, I consider, you know, obviously past a decade.
Oh,
That
on the
game ended
subject,
technically
are you busy these
as
days?
an MMO.
If not, then you should totally come along.
I
Yeah.
just
I'll
go
prepare
by
an extra
release
pretty
date.
firework just for you.
It just makes it like easy because like technically you could say, "Oh, Shadow of the Colossus is in that group," because they had Shadow of the Colossus remastered, where they remade the game from the ground up
Right.
for PS4 and PS5.
Yeah, but it
but-
was the same. The difference is an MMO is actually a completely different game. It's like, I guess the best way to put it, do you consider all Final Fantasies the same game? Final Fantasy 1, Final Fantasy 2, Final Fantasy 4, Final Fantasy 6.
Are you saying they're not?
And they're not. Yeah. But that's how I consider, you know, Final Fantasy MMOs, or you know, MMOs in general. There are different chapters, you know, like or Final Fantasy 1. I'm sorry, Final Fantasy 10 1 and Final Fantasy 10 2. Those were completely different games, but they're in the same universe, you know. So it's a sequel, you know, and you can consider expansions. I just consider sequels, you know, and they can make 1, 2, 5, 20.
It
So-
depends. It depends on how much is just the next game. Like, if it's
In that case,
an
come with me
actual
to
sequel
Naganohara.
where things
We'll go
have
see my
moved
boss.
on
There's
and
still a
it's
few
not like
fireworks to finish
all
off
of the
before the
same
show.
characters all in the same place doing the same thing, just there's more to do.
Inazuma is home to
That's
the
an
Yai Publishing
expansion.
House.
A
And a lot of
sequel
people
is a
who like to
full
write
new game.
stories,
Like
too.
the easiest way
In
to think of
fact,
would be like
most of
Ocarina
what
of
they
Time
write is
to
based off of the kinds of fairy
Majora's
tales I
Mask.
was just
Right,
talking
but there's
about.
still Link.
It's
A load of them have
that
bad
that is
names,
actually
though.
the is
Like
also
the fire diamond will get
actually
put in a
until
rich person's
Breath of the Wild 2 comes out, it's the only no, because then there's Link Between Worlds from the Link to the Past.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say it's the only direct sequel. And then I'm like, oh wait, but then there's also like Spirit Tracks and the Phantom Hourglass, which were direct sequels to Wind Waker. So I'm like,
Or
Kingdom Hearts.
someone will
Kingdom
see them
Hearts
as
were-
spirit
was
and
the
not
same
manage to catch
characters.
it, but because
Actually,
they
those were the
angered
same
it,
characters, but
No.
it was a
show
different
itself
story.
again.
it was the same characters,
hero who
but it
saved-
was a completely different story in completely different areas. Even the worlds that you went back
I
to
know
weren't
these
the same
kinds of
world.
stories are all the rage nowadays,
MMOs,
but
completely
I
different world when
really
you get a new
can't bring
expansion.
myself to like them.
Like you add to the
If
world, I should
something's
say.
magical,
Well,
Like,
but no,
you-
but it's the same world. It's just added on
That's what I
to.
meant. Yeah.
In Kingdom Hearts, all new. even places that you went to before were all completely different.
You do go back to the original spot though, in Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. Riku and Kairi and Sora's.
Well, Destiny Islands, but you're not actually there.
Like, it's an interesting argument, you know, or debate. You know, what do MMOs
I'm back.
fall under? It's interesting to
I
see
think
your point of
the
view.
safest thing to
The
do
fireworks
is
show is
to
almost
go
upon
by
us,
the
and
release
fireworks
date
for each
of the
family are
original
almost
product,
ready.
and then consider that as where it started.
Oh, new faces?
Because
Who are these two?
like
Friends
Smite
or
actually
customers?
does count because that came out in
A bit of both, actually.
at least officially
We're in
released in
Inazuma just
2014.
recently.
Right.
Can't let them miss out on a fireworks show after coming all this way, can we?
Well, either way, come on
Okay,
in
so
and have
anyways,
a seat.
other
And I,
games, good.
Naganahara Rienosuke.
Because I mentioned 5. I said Breath of the Wild, I said Genshin, I said
That can wait. Pops,
Elden
I
Ring.
need to ask you
Yeah.
about something.
Did I say a 4th?
You said
A
of the Dark
long,
Souls.
long time ago.
Well, no, I said I was going to make Elden Ring just.
Pops is
Alright,
starting
it's
telling
the
Souls
stories
games,
again.
but-
okay.
Rocks?
Sorry about
Oh,
this.
and Last of Us.
Ever since Pops
Yeah,
had his
okay.
accident,
My
Last of
fifth
Us.
years
game.
don't work too well.
It's my 5th game that is
Really?
not at all
But
a
then
controversial
fair
bit.
enough,
Like
it
it's
seemed like you were having
everybody
a
has
coherent
that's played the game.
conversation.
Oh yeah, no, it's great. Fire Emblem
Much,
Three
much
Houses.
later, people
Yeah, I
eventually
never played any of the
realized
Fire
that if you
Emblems.
grind
So,
certain
Fire
materials
But I
Emblem
into
don't know
games,
what they are.
they burn with
obviously.
Fire
many
Emblem games
beautiful
are
colors.
great games. But
Pops,
what
Pops,
makes
wait.
them great is it's not
Huh?
just the
What-
story, which
what's
is
that?
always nice and good and
Did
interesting,
they deliver those firework
and it's
materials
not
that
just
we
the
ordered
gameplay,
yet?
which gameplay is
Oh,
kind of fun. It's
yesterday's
more
fireworks
strategic
have
than
all been
anything, but it's
delivered.
not like
So have the
oh
ones
yeah,
from the day
super
before
exciting
yesterday,
and interesting.
And the one from the day
You're
before
moving
that.
characters on a screen and then have them smack a sword on someone or
No,
something.
Pops,
You're not,
I
and you're
meant
not the one smacking the
materials.
sword. You
The
tell them to
materials
smack the
that we
sword.
ordered.
Right.
They should have arrived today.
So that's not as fun. But what is
Oh,
fun
Today's
is
fireworks are
the
almost
story
ready
that's
too.
going on
Don't
with
you
the
worry.
game, the characters
Your
and their
old man
interactions with each
skills
other.
are
Because
still
as you
sharp as ever.
place units on the battlefield near each other,
Pops, the materials.
as they
the
fight
raw
together
materials
or
for making
fight next to each other,
fireworks.
they gain like
Sorry?
a invisible XP stat where they can grow closer and become closer
Sorry.
friends.
Materials or face.
Oh.
Materials!
the materials!
Oh my god. That's adorable.
Yes, the materials.
Yeah, the materials. Yeah.
Sorry.
I assume these are
Hyman
firework
got all
materials?
excited because you finally got the
Okay.
message across.
Anyway, sorry.
But no, you're fine.
The materials aren't here yet.
Mm.
The couriers did come over to explain
yeah,
why, but well,
I don't think if I
think
owned
they
a Fire
did, but
Emblem. I feel like I
couldn't
bought
quite
the
hear
most
what they were
recent one,
saying.
but I probably did. I think I was like going to, but then I was like,
No worries.
you know, I bought
As
one of the
long as
other
we
games.
know,
Not
that's
like it, but
fine.
similar.
We can
Like,
just make them later.
Another RPG.
Don't
that,
forget to take
Kiara
the goods
was
in when
playing.
they deliver them. Okay, Pops?
That's fair. Now some people are gonna be
course.
mad. Like, well,
Leave
if you
it to
picked
me.
Three Houses, why didn't you pick Xeno?
Oh, sorry if we
Xenogear,
were
and
a
I'm like,
little
I
loud.
haven't
It's always
played
the way,
it yet.
though.
Like
It's like that every
Xenogears?
time I need to ask Pop something.
Yeah, Xenogear Chronicle, or well, no, yeah.
Oh,
So there's
those were actually
Xenogear-
before, I think 2013, right?
Well, yeah. Well, the Xenogear 3 came out recently. I haven't gotten to play it.
Oh.
But the thing is, I haven't played any of them, so I can't say anything about it. But
That's my Pops.
Three Houses
He's a good person, all
has
right.
phenomenal
Everyone around
music.
here respects
Better,
him.
I think it's probably the
Because
best
my
music
Pops is
that
deaf,
then has
he
been in
never
any
argues
Fire
with
Emblem
anyone
game in
and
the
never
past.
contradicts them.
Which
He
is
just
saying
listens
something
cheerfully.
because I was obsessed with Path of Radiance's
When I was
music.
little,
By
I
the
thought
way,
it was
Path of
because he
Radiance is
really
probably the
understood me
second
and
best
agreed
Fire
with
Emblem game to
whatever
ever
I
be made.
had to say.
But
So
that's besides the point.
I tell my Pops everything.
So it looks amazing. The art style for all the characters is ingenious and perfect. The
Eventually, I
characters
realized
and their
that the reason he
interactions
was like
are
that was that he's deaf.
phenomenal.
But I still tell him stories
They
every
are
day.
funny. They're interesting, and they have really meaningful conversations with each other that really bring out who they are as a character. It's
It
so
just makes me happy to see him
good.
smile.
Yeah.
And
It's
it
so
keeps him
good.
from being lonely, right?
I know one of my games that I love this game in general, like the series, you know, because they've made like different versions of it. But Hitman, they came out with Square Enix came out with a Hitman, God, it's really good. I think it's called The Hitman. Is the more recent ones, and they have like a 1, 2, 3. And you just, have you ever played Hitman?
Anyway,
No, but I'm
more
very
importantly
familiar
right
with
now,
the
The
series.
fireworks show is right
just
around
the
the corner,
idea that
and
you
the
can
materials still
kill
haven't
your objective,
arrived.
but you don't
We
have
need to
a
think
linear
of
way
an
of doing it.
alternative.
There are so many options of trying to kill it, because it's not like really a story-based game. It's more of a strategy game of trying to figure out how to kill your
Oh, have you ever
hit.
played Dishonored?
Have I?
Have you
No.
heard of it?
Yes.
Yoimiya?
Yeah, that game is
Is that you?
very interesting.
Yeah, I feel like that's not first person, is it? That's like third person, correct?
No, it's first person. I think.
Okay. I think that's maybe what was my turn off. But I'm not obviously a big fan of first person games. There are people who obviously love it. I have the controls for me just always like make me feel weird. I like third persons a lot more personally.
Sorry.
That's fair.
But doesn't mean it's not a great game or a good game,
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm coming over.
Also, so this one's like cheating. I don't even know if this was classified it, but the Resident Evil 2 remake, because obviously that was like completely redone. It is the same game obviously as the original, but how they did the graphics in the game was ridiculous. Like it's one of the best looking games I've ever seen. And I obviously like Resident Evil a lot. And I thought they did it justice. Like I said, I don't know if that counts because you could argue that that was like, a 2000 game, but they remade it in the last decade. I'm not sure what your opinion on like remakes are, because it's kind of like Shadow of the Colossus. It was Shadow of the Colossus completely redone and remastered. I actually don't know.
It was like from not like literally from the ground up, completely just remade.
Yeah.
They didn't really add anything to it. They didn't change anything about it. They basically made the same game, but with a completely new engine.
Yeah, that's even though they added stuff into the Resident Evil
No one's looking.
2
Okay,
remake,
you can
there
come
were things
out
that
now.
were never there
come
that
around
you
the side.
could have maybe guessed. This was a thing, but it was never really specified.
Now, while I won't include it in this group, there is something very important for remakes like that.
We're
Resident
lucky that
Evil
no one from
2,
the
I don't know
Terrio
if you've ever
Commission
even
was
tried
around.
to play
Otherwise,
the
we'd all
original
be in big
recently.
trouble.
It's almost unplayable. Not just like, oh, it's an old game, it's
Sorry,
unplayable.
I guess
Like,
I was a little rash, but
if
when I
the
heard you come
gaming
back,
has
I just...
evolved in such a way that the game is just not fun or interesting to play.
So it's a clunky game. That's the best way I could put, because everyone who played the Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, they knew that game style was clunky. I still loved it.
Well, no, I know, but like,
Don't worry,
it's
Sakajiro.
important
So
that
far,
it
at
has
least
its
everything
place
is
in
going
history,
according to
because
plan.
if Resident Evil didn't exist, a lot of
We're going to
current
look for
gaming
firework
things would
materials
just
shortly.
not exist.
While
That's
we're
true.
out, we'll
It's
sort out the boat
responsible for
situation
tropes,
you,
and it's
as
responsible for
promised.
coming out, but it's also
you for all
good
your
to be
help.
able to have a game that's a more digestible setting.
He's one of our old
So
customers.
Remaking
He
a
met
game, I think,
Inazuma
is
from the
incredibly
outside world
important.
not long ago.
Yeah.
While he was
But I
smuggling
also don't
himself
think
in,
it would count
the
towards
Tenryo Commission found
games
him and put
released
out a
in the last
warrant for his
decade. I think it
arrest.
is still a remaster or a remake, but it's still based off of the original.
So-
It's nothing new.
I debate about this one, but obviously another game that was remade that's been talked about forever and they finally did it was Final Fantasy VII. And that one you could argue is a completely different game from the original, because obviously you don't go through the whole game. It only takes place in Midgar. You played 7, right? The original?
No.
Okay.
I have not played Final Fantasy VII at all.
Okay. The storytelling was like different. Like obviously there was key moments that had to happen and they kept it true to the original. But I think it's like, do you consider Brotherhood and Full Metal Alchemist and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood the same series? Yes, they're the same series, but they're not. You know, like they take a completely different direction and they go off on it. And I feel like that's how 7 was.
That's fair, but you can't have one without the other.
Well, absolutely. That's why it's like a tricky one too, you know.
Now, you know what's a great
Down.
game that was released in the
Don't
past
wanna drop
decade that
me
we haven't
unwanted
talked about
attention?
yet, that I kind of almost forgot about, that I'm glad
If
something
Sakajiro was
you
caught,
said made me
there's
think
no
of it.
knowing what crimes they could charge him
Metal
with.
Gear Solid
All we
5.
can do
I
is
thought about it,
find
but
the
I
boat
can't say that
and
to
send
me
him out of
because I haven't
Inazuma
played it.
again.
So it's like, oh, I've heard it's good. Well, I've heard mix on it. I overall heard it's good.
I haven't heard a single negative thing about it.
The biggest thing was it fell apart at the end. That's all I've heard. I haven't played the game. I can't, like I said, I can't judge it. I know you played it and you said that the ending was good. But supposedly the production, like, who's the guy who makes that games?
Hideo Kojima.
Thank you. He either got fired or he stopped it out of nowhere, like the ending.
Yeah, no. So,
Yeah, we know it's going to be
basically,
dangerous,
Hideo
but there
Kojima
aren't many other
essentially
options
said
left.
that he's untouchable. Like,
What if the boat capsizes?
he was responsible for Silent Hill. He was responsible for the Metal Gear franchise,
Yeah,
which
I
are
loved, obviously.
two of their biggest,
This bad.
two of
Couldn't it
Konami's
just not
biggest
come back
video
to the
game
Silent Hill?
titles. Yeah, he's
I-
responsible for the entire Silent Hill
I did
franchise.
not know that. I feel like I should have known that, but I did not know
Yeah,
that.
so it's just like,
Well,
the Silent Hills was his
there's
thing,
something I
and
felt
he
I
got
had to
really
do.
upset when they canceled it.
But
Like, they
as soon as I
had a
got
full
back,
playable
I started
demo
hearing about all
of
these
the game ready, and it was
unbelievable changes.
phenomenal. People were
I had
so
made my mind
excited
up
for it, and
originally,
then they
but
canceled it.
now I'm not sure anymore.
And everybody's like, wait, what?
I
And
didn't want to cause any
Kojima came
trouble
out
for
and he was like,
Yoimiya
wait,
or
what?
Mr. Ryunosuke.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm
I
very
mean, it's a big
grateful to
name,
them for
so-
taking me
well, I don't know back then, but I assume.
Well, yeah, but like, he's the director of the game, and it was like, he helped create the game, and it's just like, wait, why is this not happening? And
Yeah.
Remember what I
Konami
said?
has still kind
As
of
long
never
as
really
you've got
said
that
why they
little
just
piece of
scrapped
paper,
it.
you'll always be a
Because I'm
valued
like,
customer
that-
of the Nagano
It's
Hara.
for such a big title.
Little
But
piece
so-
of paper.
He was responsible for
Yep,
the Metal Gear
sandpaper
franchise.
slips, as the one I
and-
gave to the kids earlier.
Uh,
Whenever a customer
he-
orders fireworks for
they
a
were about
commemorative
to
event,
release it,
we always include a little paper slip with the goods.
but then like
I know
in an
people from
interview,
inside
he
my
was just like,
family can understand
like
what's
yeah,
written on it.
honestly, if it wasn't
the
for
recipe
me,
for the fireworks
Konami
they
would not have
ordered.
a video game division, and he's absolutely not wrong.
If someone
Yeah.
shows
The-
a Nagano Hara
Konami's
paper slip,
two
we guarantee
biggest
we can make
games
the
and two
exact
main
same firework
games
as
are
the original one they
or
purchased.
series
Whether
are
it's 10
the Metal
or
Gear
even 100
franchise
years
and
later.
Silent Hill.
Yeah.
There's no comparison.
Right.
Wow. That is
So,
awesome.
and so they were like, well, you think you're too big for us?
It's a
Fine then.
family
We will
tradition.
no longer be
All our
working with
regular
you.
customers know
Yeah.
about
Okay.
this.
I thought
Right
something
before
like
the
that.
release of the game. And so it's not
The
about
slip
the
I have
game's
is from
ending.
back
The
when my
game's ending
parents ordered
is
fireworks for
perfectly
Mr.
fine.
He
And
Ryunosuke.
just
perfectly
had
fits
more
into it.
Now that I
he
think about
wanted
it,
to
it must be
do
nearly
with
20
like
years
the
ago.
expansions, right? Like it was supposed to have like patches or something like that. Am I correct?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
pretty
what
much.
didn't get included.
But
Okay.
it was still fine. But the thing that's really funny about it was they removed his
It'll be
name from the
fine.
beginning,
If
the
swinging a
front.
boat is just a last
Kinda-
resort,
yeah,
but there's
I
no
remember
other
hearing
way.
that was a big
But
controversy.
Come up
Yeah.
with differences.
he sneaked it in
Much better if you could
because
stay in Inazuma.
after every single mission, when you go back to base, it's like
Whatever
Metal
the
Gear
reasons
Solid
might be,
5,
if our
The Phantom
customers come
Pain,
to us
a
looking
game
for
by
help,
Hideo
we're not
Kojima.
about to leave them high and dry.
After every single mission
What a genius.
that comes up.
Which, you know, he made another game, which I actually wanted to play. It has Norman Reedus, Stranded? What the heck is that called? You know what I'm talking about? It's the one with like the baby and Norman Reedus is like in space or a planet or something like that. Heard it's really unique and weird. I mean, it was an original game.
Oh,
by him.
Death Stranding.
That's it. Yeah. I wanted to
Thank
play
you.
it. I've heard massive
way,
mixed
I still
reviews on
have some
that
time
game.
to
Like,
consider
some
my
people say it's
options.
really good. Some people say it drags. So I just want to play it to see what it really is like. And that was in the last decade. I think that was in the last decade. No, that definitely was in the last decade.
All right. Well,
Oh my
I can't say if
let's
it's good or
stay
not.
out
You know,
here in
like
the
I said,
open
it's
for
mixed,
too
but-
long. Hurry
I
up and
completely
get back
forgot
inside.
that he was
I'll let you know
responsible for the
as
Zone
soon
of
as
the
I have an
Enders
update
games
for you.
too.
Oh.
All right.
Heard of that.
I'll leave it to you then, I guess.
I'm trying to think of other games. Okay, I'm trying to think of like an indie game that I played that I really
It's
liked.
a shame.
That's
They
like
still
been
wouldn't
big.
give him a permit, even
Yeah.
though he was born and
The last
raised in
decade-
Inazuma.
there's been like so many different types of indie games.
Honestly, this is my
Speaking of,
opinion on
You guys only got here
quote unquote
recently.
indie
How did
games.
you manage to get a permit?
I feel like if you were able to get a
Even
game out
then,
there
we
Huh?
only
and you
got
make
through
a
thanks
good
to some
game,
help
it doesn't
from
matter
Miss
whether
Haragi
you're indie or
Chisato of the
not.
Kanjo
You will
Commission.
find the audience
Oh,
that you
I
need to.
see. So you had
And
big
you
shots
know what
helping
game
you.
immediately comes to
I
mind
guess
when I
that
say
won't be of
quote
much
unquote
help to
indie game
Sakajiro.
that is just massive and perfect in almost every way?
I feel like Genshin was like that, but I could be wrong.
No, no, MiHoYo was
I guess
relatively
it was
large company.
small here, big in China. I guess that it obviously exploded over here.
Well, no, so like, Honkai Impact was
I just
still a
wish the
pretty
commissions could be a
big
little bit
game.
more
Yeah,
It
they're a
was
flexible.
mobile
pretty
company,
popular.
right? Originally?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so well, their
bet
first
no
game,
roasty
Honkai
thing has
Impact, was
played
still
like
a pretty
Inazuma,
popular
huh?
mobile game. It just wasn't that big. But then they were announced Genshin, and they
Well, no
pushed
matter what,
advertising for
I
it,
have to
Yeah,
find a way to
smart.
help
and
him.
it it was like a couple years after
I'm
Breath of the
sorry.
Wild first
I
came
invited you to
out,
come watch
so
the
like people were
fireworks,
starting to get a little
but
bored
now
of
I
it,
have to
and
run
they
a
were
few
like, "We need
errands.
something new that lets
Mhm.
me explore," and then Genshin just was
You
right
don't
there to
have to
fill that
join me if you
niche.
don't want to. I can go sort out the firework
And then
materials in
like
the boat by
people got
myself.
hooked because it's a
Yeah.
good
And then you
game.
can come
Yeah,
meet me
yeah,
back
yeah.
at the house later.
But so we were talking about indie games.
Yeah.
Undertale.
Oh, cool. Then let's start with
yes,
Sakujiro's
yes.
boat. We can
Like I
chat
said, I
along the
knew there was
way.
like something on that was like actually big. Another one too. We're gonna go back to that. Is like a samurai game. I think it was samurai or demon game. Like you're going through. It came out in the last 2 or 3 years, and it won a ton of awards. It was actually, I think it won awards around the time that The Last of Us 2 won. You know, was having like that thing. I wish I knew the game. I haven't played it. That's why I actually don't know.
I'm like,
100%.
wait, you're not talking about Sekiro, are you?
No. It is
Ghost of
a straight up
Tsushima?
indie game. It's like over the head, and I know the guy. I thought he goes through hell or something like that.
Oh, Senua, Blade Sacrifice or something like that?
No, it's like one word. It's like Striker or something like that. It's not Striker, but you know, like it's like that simple of a name. I wish I knew. Actually, now I'm going to do research on this. Give me a sec. Let's see if I can.
I'm
find
like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
it. I think you heard of it. If you heard of it, indie games.
Like, every time you add more details, I'm like, okay, this is a different game, this is a different game, this is a different game. Like, none of them are, like, indie games that I'm thinking of. I'm like,
Oh Jesus Christ! I always forget that Minecraft is technically an indie game.
no, it's not an indie game. Shut up.
It's the longest. What is the longest indie game? Minecraft is on there.
It started as an indie game,
Yeah,
but
that's what I was referring to. It started
when they
yeah.
sold out to Mojang, they were no longer an indie game.
That is funny.
They were an indie game for about 2 years, and then they sold to Mojang, and then they were no longer an indie game. So,
But,
like, as much as I...
Undertale. Yes, no, that game is really good.
Yeah,
Like from the storytelling to the stylistic, the gameplay to the choices of being pacifist or aggressive. It hits all the in the music.
like, not a lot of people are like me. I guess the technical term is like an audiophile or whatever. I don't know. It's just, if the music doesn't hit, I don't care. But if the music does hit, I can look past a lot of things.
Right.
And it's why it was so hard to watch through the Game of Thrones finale stuff, because the music hit.
Got it.
But
Hades.
Oh, Hades! You didn't describe that at all.
Well, I haven't played the game. Did he go through like hell or something?
All you had to do was say Greek mythology, and I would have known
didn't know it was for the
exactly what
Greek
you were talking
mythology,
about.
to be honest with you.
It's called Hades.
Well, I forgot the name of.
You play the son of Hades, escaping from Hades because you're like in hell, and you're like,
you
okay, I'm tired of this shit. Yeah, no,
like I said, I knew it
All
was a
you
big
had to
one
do-
in the last couple of years. I'm pretty sure it got nominated when The Last of Us 2, won all
No.
those awards, and it
No, it was the year before.
was it the year before. Okay.
Yeah, no, people would have, dude. You do not understand the shit that would have been flipped if they were together and The Last of Us 2 beat out Hades for
Well,
anything.
Technically, The Last of Us 2 beat everything, and there were good
No,
games.
no, but that's why it was such a controversial thing because it's like everybody's like, no, you paid it off. You were not the better game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like
Anyways,
I'm sorry, The Last of Us 2, the only thing it does better than the first one was the combat felt a little better.
oh no,
Can I ask how you two
I will
first
admit
met?
the gameplay was phenomenal,
She saved me from
and the
drowning this
objective
one
of the
time,
game, or
and
I'm sorry,
after
the
that,
theme
we
of the
started
game
traveling
was
together. Why do you ask?
non-violent, I thought, or revenge
Nothing.
is bad,
I'm
and he's
just
standing there
quite
killing.
envious of your
Like
relationship.
killing was so fun in that game.
My pops had a
Not a
person
good
like you
message.
around. His
Yeah,
dad
that
would
came
like
across.
hold things up all the
Yeah,
time.
and that's one of the things that I have as the thing here. Mechanics in video
do you
games
like some-
is almost mechanics as storytelling. Like,
Yes.
and that's one of the things that Last of Us 2 just fails miserably at. You're trying to get the message that, oh, killing is bad, but then you make killing fun.
Yep.
In The Last of Us 1, they tried to get the message across that killing is bad, but they also like make it like actually kind of hard. Like the controls feel heavy because Joel's an older guy.
Also, I always thought that like The Last of Us 1, was about how far would you go to protect someone you care about or love.
Exactly.
And they put you in
It's hard to remain on dry
some of the
land for
most
so long.
intense situations, which Walking Dead, by the way, does
Seem
this
to get
too.
my land
And
rights
I love the
back.
parallels to The Last of Us 1 and Walking Dead, the themes at least. But it was interesting because you being a player of the game, like, you're controlling Joel, I didn't want to do some of the stuff. I actually felt uncomfortable, which I think that was the point of it.
Exactly.
But yeah, great game.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Koichi, I'm here. How is the boat coming along?
But yeah.
Yeah, it's all right, I guess.
Sounds like
I
any other
was
games
questioned
that I
though.
would point out. It's weird because
Yeah,
like
like,
I feel like I play some games and I'm like, oh, that's a cool game, but it's like
Wait,
older,
Wait,
know,
should we really be talking about this in front of them?
and so I have to figure out like, at what point was it actually new and old.
Well, that's why I try to bring up just some very recent games I've played.
Oh, actually, I'm pretty sure this was in the last decade. You have to correct me if I'm wrong. Near.
Hmm?
I actually don't know 100%. I feel like Near Automata came out in the last decade. And now I'm curious if it actually is true. I know the older one technically wasn't. That one was like 15 years ago.
The original Nier came out about the same time as Shadow of the Colossus. I double check my facts on that.
Yeah, now. Let's see if there's info. 2017.
Yeah, I was about to. I already had that. I was gonna get the original.
Oh, the original
Nier
definitely, yeah.
came out in 2010.
Yeah, that one was Gilmore or something like that. But yeah, the Automata. Oof, I personally love the game.
It's a good game. I haven't played much of it, but it is a good game.
Yeah.
I have seen a lot. I have heard a
don't
lot.
worry, they're my
I've
friends.
listened to
You
the
can trust
music.
them.
It is a good game.
They came with me
Yeah,
to check
of
up on
course.
the boat.
Yeah, I think that one of the biggest things about the game was the music, and obviously there's much more to it because the story is so deep and dark. It takes you to places that I didn't expect it to take, and there's multiple different endings that continue the storyline, which is weird. Like, you expect to have an ending and then there could be a different ending all of a sudden. Like, you kind of like Chrono Trigger, you just play it a different way, but no, this continues on into the game. Very interesting storytelling, but really good. I love how
Oh yeah, no,
it's
it's the same thing in Soul Nomad and the World Eaters, which is a very old game.
piercing the heavens. Sorry, it's Kino's. How's it going? We're doing good. So we have this wheel, and when we're done with a discussion, we will spin the wheel again. We've been on this discussion for over an hour.
That's fine. It's an easy topic to talk about.
But it is the top video. No, let me phrase it. 5 video games that came out in the last decade, and it doesn't have to be the best video games. It's just what games stood out to us, or that we want to talk about when it comes right down to it.
Good ones.
Yeah.
Like, like honestly, we
You
could just
could
say
say
top
we're
video
all in
games
the
of the last
same
decade because we don't
boat
have to
here.
like. Because like, there's so many good ones that have come out lately, and
Oh,
people
I
have been
see.
learning to make games
Sorry.
better, which is
I
good.
didn't mean
Like,
to doubt
oh my
you.
gosh, God
I'm
of
just
War,
being cautious.
like
boaty
the
trip,
original
but
series
I'll have to be
was
discreet
a
moving it here.
classic. It was
It is.
good. It had
I-
interesting mechanics, but then they
Why is that?
completely revamped it for
Because of the
the
Sokoku decree,
2018 God
the
of War
Tenryou
release.
Commission is
And that
really
game
suspicious
was
of any
so
kind of
good.
seaborne vessel.
I recently
Even the
on my
smallest
channel
ones,
just
they'll
played through
stop
it,
and interrogate us,
and
demanding
it
to know what
was
we plan on
so
doing with it.
good.
It's a
Oh,
real
man, that
Oh
nuisance.
my
reminds me of.
gosh.
So you talk about like God of War had like the original, but then you know they have newer games. Resident Evil, I feel like did a flip. It was really good, old school, but obviously you talk about how like it just hasn't kept up with the time. And then they made 4, and it became that like third person view, and it was really good. And they went all the way up to 6, and then 7 went to first person. I felt like once it went to first person, the game went downhill. So 7 and 8 weren't my favorites in the series.
No, so here's the problem with
I
Resident Evil.
understand.
The first 2
Sorry
games
for dragging you
were
into this mess.
iconic.
Yes.
They had such a
Don't be
presence
silly.
to them.
I'm actually
If they
happy you
walked
came
into a
to me
room
for
as a
help.
person, they were
I've always
people
come
that
to you
people
for
bowed in
fireworks,
respect to
and again
because
this
they
time.
were
So just
the
consider
starting
this
of
my
a
way
genre.
of saying
Yes.
thank you.
Absolutely.
the shooter survival game. But
Right, I'll go. fetch
Resident
the
Evil
boat now.
3
I should
really
be back
lacked
shortly.
that specialness that the other 2 had.
It did, and part of it had to do with it felt like a half of a game, which, to be honest, it was a half game. It wasn't supposed to
that's
be
fair.
the third game. It was supposed to be like an add-on or something, I've heard. And
Yeah.
Code of Veronica was supposed to be the third game, which winded up being the fourth game, which really wasn't the fourth game.
No, it was like no. Code Veronica was like the 6th game.
Yeah, it was Code Veronica.
Thank you.
But no, but then Resident
If it's on
Evil
the way,
4
you
just
can
hit
always
all
pick
the
up your
right
fireworks
beats.
from my
It really
house.
did.
Everything was good.
Everything was made in
The
strict
attaché
accordance with what was
case
on the
made
paper slip.
people
You won't
with
find the
OCD just be
slightest
like,
thing
oh
wrong with
yes.
them.
Like I still am trying to maybe make
All
a
right
game
then.
of it, but like
the fireworks
people
show
have
will
made
be
says
starting
like,
soon,
dude,
won't
you
it?
could just give me
You
a
should
thing where
make
you have
sure
a
your new
bunch
friends
of
get to
random
see it.
items, and
It's
I
an
have to
Inazuma
arrange them in the
tradition after all.
attaché case, and I will play that game for hours.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the plan.
Uh,
Oh, you know
and-
what? You
and I
should
felt
tell them about your
5
past.
to me it
about the
lacked a
first
little
time you
bit, but it
ordered
was
fireworks for
still
my
a
family.
really good game because it was the first game that had to deal with
Yeah,
co-op with 2 people. And
Except the racist.
That's a long story, actually.
well, you're talking
Where
about
do I
like when they
start?
had all Africans and they had to mix it with like Hispanics and all that because people got mad about that.
Yeah,
And then-
well,
Oh.
because it was originally
Maybe I'll
just
come back
all
to that
black
after
people,
moving
the
and
boat
it
here.
was at a really bad, really racy time, and that was
Yeah, and I felt bad because they're in Africa. Like in Africa, you're gonna have if you're in America, you're gonna
Yeah,
have
that's fair,
Americans.
but
if you're in Asia, you're gonna have Asians. So
But the
it
thing
wasn't
is,
their
just like
fault.
it was at a really touchy
right,
time
yeah.
on the
It was,
subject.
you're
And I'm
right.
like, you
Caught
could
up
have
in the
put the
conversation
game
there.
anywhere else in the world. It's a big world. You could have chosen
Okay, well,
literally
I'll
anywhere else. You
leave
could
it
have
to it for
chosen
now and
Russia.
meet
That
you
would have
back
been
here later.
interesting.
maybe.
But yeah, it was just
I didn't mind it. I thought it was blown out
Lucky
of
you reminded
proportion.
me. Otherwise, I would
personally,
have ended up chatting the rest of the day away.
But because it wasn't like the point.
history
guess.
has been kinder to it as time has gone on.
Ugh,
Yeah.
I've been so
But
busy with the
it
fireworks
left a
business these
bad
past few
taste
days.
in the mouth
I
of
haven't
people
had a moment to
because
stop and chat with
in
anyone.
media,
It's
timing
killing me.
is everything.
I don't know. I think it was the best Resident Evil. Like I think it was the best-selling game of all time for Resident Evil for its time. To be honest with you, I don't think it really did that bad. Like you think 4 was good. I think 5 did better. I'm like
Of course,
90%
Pops is happy
sure
to
on
listen
that.
to me chatter away.
Because
But because he can
6
hardly hear
did the same
anything,
exact thing,
it's
except
difficult to get an interesting
it was
reaction from
so
him.
bad to the people who loved Resident Evil. Like they hated 6, and it was really interesting
I'm doing it
how
again,
much hate
aren't
6
I?
got.
Ugh. What I meant
I don't
to
know if
say
you ever
was,
played 5 or 6.
while
you
Koichi
know.
is bringing the boat here, we should try to find some firework materials.
No.
I need to make
Now,
fireworks
I didn't mind
not
6,
just
but
for
I
you guys,
understood the
but for
reasoning
those kids
behind why
and
6 was so
Sakajiro
bad.
as well.
It was basically all over the
We're
place. It had too many
missing a
storylines. It fell
lot
out
of
of
materials.
place. That was like the biggest issue. It just felt
Resident
all-
Evil 4 sold
It'll be
24
fine.
million copies.
It's
and
actually
Resident
like this
Evil
every
5
year.
sold
There's always a bunch of extra orders to
12
slot in
million
here and there.
copies.
unreleased dates, I think. Now, you know, Resident Evil has had a lot of remakes. Resident Evil 4.
When people want fire
Resident
Evil
it's
4
always because they have something
Resident
to
Evil 4,
commemorate.
the initial
And if
launch
they
was
miss the
11
chance, they
million
might never get
copies.
another
Resident Evil
one.
5 was 8
So,
million.
no matter how busy
Okay.
I am, I'm always happy to take their orders.
Still really high.
So,
For its
what
time.
you're trying to say is that
Yeah,
you enjoy
but it's just it was a decline,
Oh, I
and
really
so
do.
they had a lot
Being
of
born into a
side
family of
games
fireworks
between
makers, Ever
5
since I
and
was a
7.
kid, I've been obsessed with watching things go
And
boom.
Resident Evil 6 was
And
not
seeing all
that
the
good,
lights
but
and
they had a
colors
lot
and-
of side games, and those were just not very good. And then when they finally came out with 7,
That's not true.
What
There
I
was
really
one side game
wanted
that
to
was
say
actually
was,
really good.
don't worry about me.
The one on
It'll be
PSP
fine.
was really good. The sequel wasn't good. Because
I don't remember which one.
Uh,
Raccoon City or something?
no. Okay, the multiplayer ones were terrible. It was one where you played as, was it Claire? I feel like it was Claire. It may have been Jill. Oh no, it's Jill.
I literally don't remember
Yeah.
any of
They
anyone
were on a
talking positive
submarine
about
or a boat, and the boat came in 7, and a lot of people loved that. Like it connected the worlds.
it. But yeah,
Sorry,
but 7
sorry.
really shifted
It's
the
just that
genre.
good
Like,
conversation can
and
be as boring as
honestly,
fireworks
I'm not
sometimes,
upset
you know?
about it
So, when
because
I'm in the mood and
Resident
I've got a lot to
Evil
say,
is one of
I
those
just have to
franchises
get all
that
out
if
there
you
in one
get
go and
right,
leave
it
no
just
regrets.
goes on forever. And they really needed to revamp
Let's
the
head to the city.
franchise.
They
I
did,
think
but I
I'll
think
try
wasn't-
my luck with some people that I know.
What they were doing wasn't working, and so they needed a change of pace. And 7 and Village really brought it out, and I thought it actually really elevated the game as a
It can
franchise.
get uncomfortable,
both
I
of them.
guess.
I
but
felt
what
like
else
so
would I be
the
using
most
my voice
important thing
for?
I feel about the Resident Evil, and this is why I personally loved it, was the characters.
That's fair.
And they get this random character named Ethan. I think his name is Ethan, and you don't
Yep.
even care about him. Like I
Ethan
literally
Hawke.
don't care about Ethan whatsoever. So how do you make a game that you don't care about the main character and expect to continue the franchise? And a lot of people felt like this. I think that were big fans of Resident
Like,
Evil.
So, the thing is, they weren't trying to make it for the Resident Evil fans. They were trying to make a game that could
here we are.
really bring people in.
Well, they're trying to
they
make
were
a scary
trying-
game like Amnesia.
They're
and all
trying to
that.
make a
Well,
scary game,
How's
but a
business
game
these
that
days?
also won't isolate people that are
Join
already
me,
Resident Evil
there
fans,
you are.
and
I
will
thought
also
you might
bring
show
new
up.
people into the fold.
Ah, no
And
need
the
to beat around
the
the
best way
bush.
to do that
You're here for the
is with
fireworks
the
materials, I assume.
blank slate.
I put a batch aside just
Basically,
for you.
anyone
definitely
can
be
self-insert themselves as Ethan Hawke.
Yeah, I know.
And that's the most important thing
Huh?
for
Really?
Resident Evil 7 and
How'd
8,
you know?
is that you can
because
feel
a fireworks
yourself
show
as
is
that
coming up.
person.
And that usually means you'll be running all over the place trying to get your hands on some
Of
last-minute
course,
materials.
Ethan Hawke, spoilers for Resident Evil
I've
Village.
come to expect
Do you
it
care?
now.
I don't
There's
know if you
always
I-
a
I
few
credit it.
extras unaccounted
And yeah,
for,
okay,
eh?
yeah.
yeah.
fine.
Spoilers, Ethan Hawke dies at the end of
Oh, I'm
Village.
so sorry for
So,
bothering you every
whatever
time.
they do in the future is not going to be with Ethan Hawke. That's a chance for them to,
Aw,
again,
come on
revitalize the
now.
series.
Well,
maybe.
You know I
they
didn't
brought
mean it
Chris.
like
So they
that.
brought Chris in 7.
I'd sooner have
and
my
8,
business
and
go
he's
under than
completely
turn down
different.
one of
He's
your
nothing like the Chris
requests.
that everyone knows of.
Well, yeah, but
What
people
about
are
you
thinking
two?
maybe he got
Are
injected
you the
with
ones
the
needing
virus or
some
something.
fireworks,
Oh,
man?
no.
That's why he's different. Well, it's
No, let me rephrase that.
theories.
He was like beefy, and now he's skinny. He also smokes, which he didn't smoke. Like there's like things like that.
Which is like, well, this might not be the same Chris. That's why there's so many theories about it that Resident Evil 9 will have to answer, and hopefully that will.
Yeah, hopefully.
It's no trouble at all, my friend.
But it was an important
Once when I had an argument with my
revitalization
son,
of the genre.
Yoimiya was
Plus,
the one who came
with
and
all
calmed
the
him
new
down.
people that came in for 7
I'm
and for
hopeless
8,
at communicating
it
with
gave
him.
them the money
If
to
it
be able
wasn't
to
for
do the remakes for
Yoimiya,
Resident
who
Evil 1 and
knows?
2.
He probably would have run away
Oh,
by
well,
now.
yeah, no, that's definitely because I think the best game of the franchise was, you know, like after all those came out was 2. Like the remake
Nah,
of
he was
2
never gonna come to that.
supposedly did
He's a
insane.
sensitive kid and
They
he
got,
cares
like-
a lot about your feelings.
That's why they did
It's
3,
just
which 3 wasn't
he
as
doesn't know how to express it.
impactful as 2's remake. And
Maybe
they're
he
doing
could turn
4,
that frown upside
which
down once in a
I'm
while.
expecting
He
that
might
to do
feel more at
insanely good.
ease.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I guess
absolutely.
I'm probably
But,
too serious around him.
Now, you know that... I don't know if you know anything about these franchises, but are you familiar with
You're
Ratchet
almost
and
about to
Clank?
fight me? What? Why are we gonna fight me, Kinos? Pa, 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 pa.
Yeah, actually, what
Which
were you
is
about to-
strange because I
oh,
don't think
probably
I'm
because you
anything
said
like
that
that
Resident
when I'm
Evil 7
talking
and
with
8
other
were not
people.
good.
Oh, no, I loved Resident Evil 3. I just knew that it wasn't like from
It wasn't
the-
received as well.
yeah. So the second game was all about like the suspense and the scariness of the game, while 3 was just an action-packed adventure. Like you're just like like there was no stealth or anything. It was just
That's what it was. That's what it
Don't
was.
worry about
That's
it. It's
sorry.
perfect.
I
If you
was
have any
trying to
trouble in
find
the
the
future,
words
just
for
come
it,
to
and
me.
that's what it was. Resident Evil was a horror franchise, and starting with 3, it was
Even
a
if it's
slow
not fireworks
decline
related,
out
we'll
of
have
the
what you
horror
like.
genre
Customers
and
come first.
more into
Always.
an action genre.
yeah.
Resident Evil 4 did a better job of being more of a horror game,
Yeah.
but Resident
Yeah.
Evil
All
5
right,
and
then.
6 and such were
Everyone's
just
always saying
action
what a good
games.
kid you are. Your
And
father
so
must be
Resident
very
Evil
proud
7
of you.
and 8 was going back to the horror.
No, I will give them credit. I think the horror aspect, they nailed it. I just didn't
Yeah.
care about the character, so I felt like
That's fair.
it was like halfway. But no, you're absolutely right. The horror was fantastic in that game.
Go
So,
ahead and take the ore,
that-
by the way.
Thank you
It's on
for
the house.
saying it like that, because that was actually really important for me. Because I was like trying to say, I'm like,
No, you don't.
because like, yeah, the
That's
games were kind of
Christian.
fun though. Like, why did it decline? I'm like, right,
Don't
because it was a
worry,
horror franchise
just
that
take
became
it as a
action.
Exactly.
token of my gratitude.
So, but I was about to say, have you played or know of Ratchet and Clank?
I feel like I have, but I don't think I have.
Gratitude
Jack and
won't pay
Daxter.
your bills, though.
The
Don't
closest
do
games
this
I played
me.
to that
Can't we
was
just
Conker's
play by
Bad Fur
normal
Day.
business rules here?
Has nothing to do with that. And Sly Cooper.
Aren't those like fun? Oh wait, are they side scrollers?
No, all three of
I
those
already
games are
said it's
games
fine.
from
Please, just take
the
it.
old.
Surely
They
you've got a
they
load of other
originated
things you
in
need
the
to get
old
done
PlayStation
today.
/ PS2 era. Jack and
There's
Daxter,
evil-
their
or
first.
evils, or survival horrors with 2 puzzle games. No, that's true. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Well, how about
Jack
this
and
then?
Daxter
I'll record this in my
was
notebook, and we
a
can consider it a down payment against
like a
any
roam
fireworks you
around
want to
an
purchase
area
in the
and
future.
and do puzzles and stuff. They're all third person.
There's no
games.
convincing
The
you,
old
is there?
PS2, PS3 era. That's what I keep.
Yeah,
repeating
yeah, that's
myself.
what I thought. I thought they were like that.
All
weird,
right, then.
well, the
If you
beginning of
insist.
3D.
And
Pass on
they
my
were
regards
all
to your
so
dad.
stylized.
Tell him
Yes.
Morihiko wishes him health
All of
and
them were very
happiness.
interesting. Jack and Daxter didn't go out the way
Will
I
do.
wish it had.
You look after yourself as well.
The
Don't
last
push yourself
game
too
was
hard.
called Jack
You don't wanna
X,
make
which was
yourself ill
actually the
again.
4th game in the series, which is dumb.
Uh-huh.
But and it was a racing game,
Everyone seems to really
Which
like you, young
I was
man.
like, that was like the worst part of 2 and 3.
You're not the
was
first
that
person
you
to
had
say that.
racing game.
In fact, some people
Right.
think I'll literally do
But-
any favor they ask me to.
That was frustrating.
Survival
But-
horror is wandering by your own in an unknown space, trying to manage your resources. The concept got lost for Resident Evil 4, where the levels design became linear.
That's fair.
I felt like it was still semi-linear in the old games. I guess you could argue. Definitely was like completely linear. I guess you could argue in 4. Like it was hard to go back. You could go back, but you couldn't. That's fair. I mean, I love
When that happens,
Yeah, so
I say
Jack
to
and
them,
Daxter
hey, this is
was
a fireworks
about
show. We do
the
fireworks.
world. The whole point of it. And by the way, they were both
What?
Ratchet and Clank and Jack
I
and Daxter
don't
are both
always
made by the same
listen,
studio, Naughty
so
Dog.
It can't be helped.
Okay. Oh
But-
wow.
Or,
Also,
no, not
it's
Naughty Dog. Sorry,
really a
no.
big deal.
Insomniac.
I was about to say, I was like Naughty Dog. That's a pretty big company.
Anyway, we've got
I
all
said
the
the wrong
materials we
thing.
need
I
now,
apologize.
so that solves that
Um,
problem.
Please don't kill me.
Murder.
but
Next, we just need to go find someone to process
But
them.
so Jack and Daxter, the whole point of their games was to build a massive world, and by Jove, did they do that! Those games felt massive and lived in. God, they were so big. But it makes it such a cool experience to play.
Hajime,
Ratchet
Mr.
and
Amanova,
Clank is
it's
all
me.
about the run and gun
Ah,
shoot
yo,
with
Mia.
cool weapons.
If I'm not mistaken,
And
you must be
they
here
did
for
that
some
really
firework
well.
material.
And Sly Cooper was all
Seems
about.
like everyone
Well,
knows how
you're-
busy
it's
Anya
called
gets
Sly
leading
Cooper.
up to the
You're
fireworks
a
show.
raccoon that steals from people. But
Rude. I would never do that.
I'm very sorry. Would you be able
But
to wait
it's
for a while?
just such a
I have
good
quite a backlog of weapons
series.
orders right now.
and all of them.
No
Oh,
worry.
Ratchet and Clank is the
wait,
only one that
actually,
continued on to this current day, where they've kept
that
making new
could be a
games.
problem.
Okay.
Some
And then,
worries.
by God, the newest games look so good. I wish I had a PS5 so I could play the newest Ratchet and Clank.
Oh.
How about this? Do you need a
That-
hand?
But-
yeah, I didn't
As
realize
long
that.
as
I
you
mean,
can
that's
get through
new.
your orders, you can help me
Oh
process
no!
my
Like
ore.
they
right?
had multiple games on the PS4, and then they
That will
had
depend on my
a
master.
PSP game called Agent Clank.
Oh, you don't mind,
It
do
was
you,
pretty
Mr.
funny.
Aminoma? As you know,
But yeah,
it's
no,
not
Ratchet and
long
Clank
now
has
until
kept
the
going,
Naganahara
but Sly
fireworks show
Cooper
starts.
ended at Sly 3.
There's still a lot
I
of
heard that
fireworks
they
left
made a
to
Sly
make.
4, but
I
I
don't finish them on
haven't
time.
seen anything about it in
Talkative
a
as
long
ever,
time,
I
so I
see,
don't remember if it actually
dear
happened or
child.
not.
Right.
The essence of
And
Amenoma
then
art is
Jack and
patience.
Daxter,
and
they were a
focus.
great series, and then
When
Jack
the
X
mind
happened,
is
and I
disturbed,
think there was another
it will
PSP
show in
game,
the
like
blade
Jack
that
the
is
Lost Frontier or
forged.
something, but it's just like,
If you badger Hajime like
it
this,
wasn't Jack and
you will
Daxter.
only succeed in disrupting his concentration.
Didn't have the humor, it didn't have the
But this
world
is a
and
special
world
circumstance,
building.
surely. The
It
Naganahara
was just
fireworks
so
show is right around the corner.
So give me your ore,
All
and
right.
I will process it for you.
I think we may be done with this question. Let's go on to the next category.
Yeah, we're starting to leave current games. We're starting to go into the old games.
All right. Boom, 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 boom. All right, Akadi, spin the wheel. Anime talk. We did this yesterday. All right. Well, back to anime.
Yesterday, I had to come up with an anime I wanted to gush about. Today, I
Huh?
prepared for one earlier
Master.
today.
Oh, yeah.
You mean you'll do the
Have
work
you
personally?
heard of an anime called Your Lie in April?
Yes, I had to think about that.
Is that so
I'm
surprising?
90%
It is, after
sure
all, the
I
only
own
option.
it, but I haven't seen it yet.
Thank you for helping
Your
out,
Lie
Mr.
in April
Aminoma.
is a phenomenal
You're quite
anime.
welcome.
It-
The
it's
Naganahara
about
fireworks show is
a
an
kid
important event.
who was a
This
piano
I know well.
prodigy as
In
a young
addition to
kid.
this,
Okay.
I am indebted to
And
Ryunosuke
he
for all the business he has given me.
broke.
But
Like
Yoimiya,
his mom
you should plan
pushed
things
him
more
too
carefully in the
hard.
future. Do not
And
rush
he
everything at the
just
last minute.
Couldn't do it anymore. He kind of froze up and quit.
I'll try my best. In the future, I'll get
And
some
it's
extra
the
materials
story
in to
of
cover any unexpected changes
a
of plan late in the day.
violinist who has a fiery energy within her.
Though
Kinda
for
like
you,
Yoimiya.
dear child,
But
no matter how much you
and
prepare in advance,
pulls him out of the slump
may
that he's
never
in
be
and
enough.
brings him back into enjoying something he used to do.
excuse me. I will be back shortly.
And it's a heart-wrenching story.
Wow, Mr. Aminoma! Just look at the shape and size of
And
these grains.
The story
It's
actually
beautiful.
has really
I'm at a loss
deep
for words.
meaning for me
It's
because
been a while
it
since I've seen you
feels
take
a
up your
lot
tools,
like
but
my
it
story
looks like your
with
craft hasn't degraded
playing
one bit.
music.
Right, because you play the French horn.
hmm I pushed myself so hard,
Of course.
and
I
then
have studied these
like
techniques
when
my
I got
whole
to
life.
college, like
They
I
are
was
impossible for me to
trying
forget.
to push myself the way I was, but I couldn't
So have
get
Amenoma Art
anywhere.
and
Every
Naganahara
time I push
Fireworks
forward
been
to try to
working
get
together
better,
for
I
a
felt
long
like I take
time
3
already?
steps back,
Right.
and I had to quit for a while.
Now how that is, I played the violin for a bit. Actually, I played it for a long time. I just quit when I was in high school because I felt like I wasn't doing that well and the teacher wasn't properly teaching me how to play. So I just felt like, because I was, you're thrown in with freshmen and seniors and all that. So of course the seniors are going to be better. And if he focuses on the seniors and the freshmen just feel like they're left out or they're not good, that's how I felt. So I quit, which I was upset because, like looking back years later, I'm like, God, I wish I could play violin or I could pick up a violin. I probably could maybe play a little bit, but like, there's no way I could play like how I used to.
Back in the day,
But
it was my master.
it has an even
and
deeper
Ryunosuke's father.
meaning for me.
The people may have changed
So-
from one generation to another,
The
but the ingredients required to make fireworks
story of the anime
have remained
has
the
a
same.
progression. And once I
Hajime,
had gotten to a certain
in the
part,
future. This
I
will
had
be
to
up
stop
to you.
because
hit
it
too close to
wasn't
the home.
it was something exactly that happened to me.
Right.
I know.
But God, the music was so good. The music is so good. And so after the accident of 2015,
All right, I
Right.
won't bother you guys any
I
longer.
was like,
Oh,
okay,
remember to
I
watch the
finally think
fireworks.
I've gotten over this event that happened that was really traumatic and made me really
Okay,
depressed.
time to head off.
Yeah.
I should try to finish the anime.
Twitch
God, that was
probably
such a
isn't that
mistake.
just yet, but let's go wait for him.
But it also wasn't, because the anime is so good. It's
Right.
it's so moving. The music is amazing. The characters, the story, the animation, the cinematography, everything in it is just so good.
Uh-huh.
But again, something that happens in the anime happened in my life. And it broke me again. Like, twice this anime broke me just because of happenstance.
Just as
Yeah.
I thought, he isn't back yet.
And God, it's
Not
just...
to worry, because actually, I've been hoping
was
for a
too
chance to
close
have
to
a
home.
nice long chat
Yeah.
with you
It was too
all
close.
day.
That's really
God,
interesting
Sorry for
when
dragging
you
you with me everywhere.
watch something and
Everyone's
it
been
does
so
that.
good to me,
'Cause
though.
you're like,
It's all
someone may be
gone
like,
really
it was all right.
smoothly.
And then you're like, no, that freaking was amazing because it connected on a deeper level to, the person or you or... So,
Like, that's such a specific... The thing is like, for slice of life animes, like, a lot of the time you want to be the person that, like, is the main
neglecting you
character.
guys, so
but
I wanted to find an opportunity to
in
catch up.
this anime, it's not
When we
meant to
first
be
met, I
that.
was in a hurry.
Yeah.
We didn't have
Because
a
for
chance
most
to sit
people,
down
it's
and have
such
a
a
proper chat.
bizarre situation. It shouldn't be what
You
happens
guys
to
are
most
travelers,
people,
right?
but
Mhm.
So,
it was like
where else did
almost
you go before
literally
coming
the
to
story of
Inazuma?
my life. And it was so painful to watch. I'm like, why are
I
you
haven't been to
doing this
Liyue
to me?
before, but from what I've heard from Miss Beto, it sounds
But
like
at
a
the
really
same
interesting
time, it's
place.
just so great.
right.
Just trying not to spoil anything in case you ever get around to watching it.
I probably will.
It's highest recommendation. It's especially since you were a musician that got shunned. Like, it's just...
So there's this anime, I'm trying to remember the name of it. It deals with people going, they're like they're in an elevator. They get out of the elevator, and there's the main character is like a bartender, and it deals with, by the way, death.
Death Parade.
That's it. Thank you.
As soon as you said there's a bartender, I'm like, I know what you're talking about.
That series is insane. It's so good.
It's so good, and that intro was so good. Flyers.
There's without spoiling it, there's a scene closer to the end which talks about a character, one of the main characters, and the whole scene is shot with just music.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm talking about. And that scene is really hard to watch because it's so powerful, and I couldn't believe they pulled it off with just music. And the performance, obviously, like the performance of the animation and the acting, I guess you could argue, without any talking. Oh my god. But the things they deal with, because the series deals with death. It has some really good themes about death. And oof. It was like I was caught off guard by it because I never heard of it, and I was Death Parade. That sounds silly,
And that intro makes you not prepared.
Big happened there
exactly.
recently,
Yeah,
right?
'cause it's like an
Didn't
upbeat
that Archon
intro.
leave all of a sudden?
And it's really not an upbeat series. Not like a super depressing series. It's just deep, really deep.
By the
Yeah,
way,
a lot of
if you don't want to
crazy
have
things
to
went down as a
interact while they're
result.
talking, in the upper right corner there's a button you can push, and that way, as the voice actors finish talking, it'll start doing the next line.
Oh, that's cool as hell.
Together to stave off
Yeah,
a
that
huge
way
disaster
you
that
don't
could
have to
wipe
just
out
keep
the whole
interacting. So
city.
while we're talking, they can
Oh,
kind of just
well,
go through
that's
their
good to
stuff.
hear.
No, I love that.
I gotta
I'm
say,
surprised.
it's pretty
Obviously,
remarkable that the citizens
I
managed to
paid
step
attention to
up
that.
and keep things going even after their Archon
Yeah.
left. I mean,
Another
I sure can't
anime
imagine Inazuma without the Shogun.
that
My
really
friend once said to
just
me that
was
only people with a strong
in the
will
right
and a
place at the
clear
right
purpose
time.
decide to go traveling. Maybe
It's
it's
called
to see a
Ancient
certain view
Magus'
or to
Bride.
fulfill a certain wish.
I never even heard of that. Is that
So,
current or
what
old?
made you guys embark on your treacherous journey
It's
to Inazuma?
relatively current. So
And we're
it
looking
was
for
right
answers
as I
from
was
the
about to
gods,
just
too.
drop out of anime.
You were
Like,
separated from your family
there
because
was
of a
not a
god?
lot of good stuff
Oh.
coming out. Like, most of the stuff just
That
felt
must
like
be really tough.
junk, and I was just like, I don't need junk food right now, or
I get
junk
it.
food anime.
Well, if
Like,
that's how it is,
I
then
wanted
that's how it
something
is.
meaningful and beautiful.
You know,
Mhm.
I was
And
going to
then
ask if you guys wanted to stay here in
Ancient
Inazuma.
Magus' Bride
Unlike
came
the
out with
outside
like a
world,
short
what
little
Inazuma seeks is
mini
eternity.
series of like
In
episodes
other words,
to
a
get
state
a
of
little taste of
tranquility
the show
where
and like a
very
little
little ever changes.
history to the main
The
character.
advantage of that is that if you're
And
ever
I'm like,
tired from
yo,
your journey,
what?
Inazuma's a great place to come and rest.
Oh, if the
let
show's
me put it
anything
this
like this,
way.
this is gonna be a good
I
show.
was just
And
worried
then-
that you might be getting weary.
And then the
If you
show
keep
was
pressing
that
on
and
in
a
that state, you
trillion
might start to
times
lose
more.
sight of the things that made you want to start your journey in the
It
first
was
place.
such a good
Sometimes.
series.
Also just how
The
it is.
music
When
was
you're
so
exhausted,
perfect.
everything becomes an
The
uphill struggle.
animation
Even trying to have
was
fun.
just
You won't be able to enjoy
gorgeous.
yourself if you're too
You could
tired.
take little clips
An
from
adventure
there
friend
and
of
just
mine
have
once
like
told me
beautiful
that if you're
screen
too focused on
backgrounds
reaching the end of
that
the
are
race,
just
you'll miss a
so
lot of
soothing.
opportunities and precious moments to be had along the way.
Everything was
Don't
just
worry though, I'm
perfect.
sure I can think of some way
The
to get you
only
feeling relaxed and
problem with
happy.
the show that I have
And you're here now,
was that
so
the
even if you're gonna leave eventually,
when the
I wanna make sure you
mangaka
at
was
least
getting
leave
to
with fond
work together
memories.
with the animation
knows?
studio,
Once you're reunited with your
the
family, maybe
producers
you'll
of the
find
show
Inazuma the right kind
forced
of place
them
to
to
call
add
home.
an antagonist for them to defeat.
Really?
The show is all about nature versus magic, talking about how the two are one and the same and how they interact with
I
each
already
other.
have an idea
Huh?
of the color and type
It's
of
such a
fireworks I wanna
beautiful
give you guys.
idea and it's so
I'll keep it a
interesting.
secret for now, though.
But they
Boy,
had
Mia,
to
I'm
shoehorn
back.
in an
Sorry to keep you
antagonist
waiting.
because the
Let's head
producers
over to the
told them
boat.
to. And I'm like,
Or,
you could have just
did
left
you
it as
wanna
it
keep
was.
chatting a
I
little
think I remember
longer?
you saying something about an anime that did that. So, and it's unfortunate sometimes when
Okay, good. Let's
when
go
the
then.
Honestly-
production company gets
Act
involved.
naturally, though.
You know,
We don't want to
and
raise any
messes up
suspicion.
what a writer's
Can we
vision
stand the
was.
storms out
Like,
on the
what?
ocean? It must be super
Honestly,
sturdy.
I think out of everyone that's had to
Absolutely.
do something
Rest
like that,
assured that
they
the quality is
incorporated
guaranteed.
it and handled it better than any other studio. So it's like, it's serviceable, it's fine, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
It thematically, it kind of fits in. It's just that it didn't need it. It could have just been like almost a nature/magic documentary, and I
Yeah.
would have been so satisfied. Basically, the main character is an
way too
overwhelming outpouring flow
Can't
of
be helped,
magic.
I'm afraid.
They
This is the biggest and
continuously
sturdiest boat that I can
sprout
provide.
magic from out
It's
of them.
built from the finest Inazuma timber.
And the thing is
Still,
that
I'll be the
there are
first
dark
to admit
creatures
if
that
he's
feed
planning
off that
to ride
magic
this into the
that
storm,
usually kill
it's going to
them
be
when they're
exceedingly
children.
dangerous.
Uh-huh.
They
I'm
don't
also
usually get to
hoping
live very
Sakajiro
long.
won't
It's
have to
called the
use it.
sleigh
It's
beggy, is
just
what
there
they
as a
call
last
it.
resort. I gotta say
Dumb
though,
name.
Koichi,
But
it feels like your craft
um,
has improved once again.
so
I'm
the
not
main
the one you
character
should
is a
be
girl of
praising.
16.
It's all thanks
So
to the
like
guys
in the
who
magic world, that's
kindly pitched in.
unheard of for a sleigh
To
beggy to
avoid
be anything
detection,
older
we
than like
each worked on our
5
own
before they
materials
get killed.
separately, then
Ah.
assembled
And
them
then-
secretly in the
And
night.
then beyond that,
This is the
the
largest we could
oldest one
afford
to
to
live
build.
was 8.
Any bigger, and
But
there's no
then
way
the
it would pass
magic
the
became
Tenryo
so
Commission's
overflowing and
inspection.
overpowering that it
Let's
killed
store the
them.
boat here for now then.
So the fact
fill
that
Sakajiro
one
in when I get
lived
I'll
to
need
like
make some preparations before
teenagerhood,
setting sail.
it's like, what? How?
Right.
Feels really worried all of a sudden.
And oh my gosh, it's such an interesting
Helping
story.
Sakajiro make you a collaborator in the eyes of the Tenryo Commission?
Hi, God, it's so easy
Maybe
just
it
to
does.
say. Highly recommend. Just
I
please
knew what I
watch
was
that.
getting
Like,
into from the
no,
moment I agreed to help
I
him.
would love to watch that
My
show
family
with
has
you
pretty good connections with the
at some
Yashiro
point or
Commission.
something.
Okay.
We work very
It's
closely
just
with them. And whenever there's
so many
national
good
events
shows.
of any
Oh,
sort,
yeah.
I'd love to just
the
be
other
like,
two
no, we need to
commissions
just
come
sit
to
down and
us,
watch
too.
this.
as long as
Now,
I'm
this is like
polite
an
and
older
respectful
anime,
and don't
but
cause a fuss,
it's
they won't
something
look to
that
cause trouble for me either.
got me into
And
really
anyway, to
appreciating
your
anime.
point about collaboration, you've
It
been
was
helping out
Trigun,
too, right?
which I'm shocked if people haven't heard of that because
This
it's
was
pretty
all a
old school.
collaborative effort.
But the idea, well, for one, I love Vash. Like his personality, it's something that I like to think that I'm like similar to. And he's upbeat. He tries to do the right thing. He doesn't like killing people. And you know, the first part of the series like starts out as like a comedy.
Ah, so
but
your
the
seasoned
later
crooks
half gets
already,
really
eh?
serious. You know,
Don't know
'cause
what I was worried about then.
he's not trying to kill. He doesn't want to kill anybody,
Anyway, thanks
but
for everything,
people want him
Koichi.
to kill him. And it's
And
a
your
really
fireworks
interesting
are
this
ready,
theme.
so just go pick them up
Um,
from my house whenever you
And I
want.
just liked how they
While
they
you're there,
presented the
you can get my
show.
pops to
Like I
settle the
said,
boat construction
how-
fees.
The first little
Oh,
bit is just a
don't worry
little
about paying
appetizer, like a
anything.
taster,
Third
just
sis
to
would
get
be
you
sure to
interested in
scold
the
me if she
characters
found
and
out I'd
interested in the
taken
show.
Laura from the
And then,
Nine-No-Haras.
as soon as you're like, okay, you're hooked, you got the hook in your cheek.
Let me
Okay,
explain
great.
this one.
Now we're
It's a
going
story
into
my
the
pops
serious
told
shit.
me.
Exactly.
There used
Yeah,
to be a
I think
thriving
you
merchants
talked
guild
about
in
this, and,
Inazuma.
and
It got
I agree
really
with
prosperous.
it. The ending
At
may
one
have not
point,
been the
there were
best
a
ending. It's not
dozen
like
or
it's a
so kids
terrible
born around the
ending,
same
but
time to the families of the
it
guild.
wasn't
Well,
as.
They all grew up together,
not the
each of them
ending.
learning their
Didn't you hear they're
respective
doing a
family's
new season?
business.
Are you
They were a
serious?
tightly knit group of friends.
Yes.
I did not know
But
that.
eventually, they
Ooh,
all
yeah,
grew
that's
up
inter-
and
I'm
decided
hoping-
they each wanted to go into business
I'm excited,
themselves.
but I'm also scared.
It was
Is it the same
inevitable
director?
that business would
Or,
send
like,
them all to
artist?
different corners of the
From
world.
what I heard, yeah.
And that they'd
Okay,
have
that's
far less
probably-
opportunity to see each
And
other
it's
in the
being
future.
written by the original
That's
mangaka,
right.
so
Just before we
that
went
could
our
be good then.
separate
I
ways,
was like,
the
it
eldest
could
of
be
the
good,
group
or it could be bad, 'cause
suggested
it
that
could
we should all go
add to
watch
the
some
series, or it
fireworks
could
together one
take
last
us
that's
from
time.
the
series.
exact same
They were
reaction
all
everyone
very
has
ambitious
when I say
types,
that.
and each
Yeah.
had
I'm
their
like,
own
yeah,
knack for doing
because
business.
that's just the thing.
One
Is
by
like
one, they left until
when you
Koichi
have a
was the
new
only one of
vision,
them remaining in
it does. Like,
Inazuma.
so have you ever watched
After
Death
that,
Note?
he hardly saw them.
Yeah.
But whenever
Yeah.
one of them did come
You
back
know
to
how it
visit,
ended,
fireworks
and how it
would
ended
always be
really bad.
involved.
Yeah. No matter how close you and your
I had
friends
mixed
are,
feelings on
there's always going to be some distance after being
on
separated
the,
for a
not
long
the
time.
ending.
But as soon as the
on
fireworks
a
lit
certain
up the sky,
part of the
it'd
series,
instantly take us
and then
right
it
back
kind
to our
of-
childhood, and we'd be
I felt like
chatting
it could
away
have ended
like
the
in
same
the
way.
old
We can
days.
talk spoilers because we
To
both
us,
watched it. I don't
those
care.
memories are
I
eternal.
love. I think Light Agami
So this is what you
is a
meant
great
when you were
character.
talking
He's a
about
character that thinks he could change.
separating
He's like arrogant, basically, when it comes down
Yep,
to it. You
that's
know,
exactly right.
thinks he's going to
That's why I
change
can't let people
life
down
for
when
the
they're
best.
counting on me for their
And
fireworks.
his ideals are great.
Anyway,
it makes sense.
I
You
need to go
think-
update
if you like wrote
Sakajiro.
it down, you
See
think
you,
he
Koichi.
would change
Thanks again for your help.
society for the better.
Yeah, I should
You're
get
like,
out of
yeah,
here
this
too.
I could get
I
behind
don't want to
this.
get caught
The
red-handed.
fact is, when you
Goes
start
about it the wrong
becoming a
way.
god,
Okay, story time.
it's pretty much a god's power.
So, whenever
condemning
Koichi
people
brings one of
to
his
die.
friends from the trade association to see me, they
You
always
start
mention how they used to play with
losing
me
your
when I was a
weight when
kid,
it comes
or
right down to it, I
held me
feel,
once as
or-
a baby, or
Or
something.
you know, like you start getting into that gray area,
But
like
there are so many of them
lose
in
your
that friendship
humanity.
group, and
exactly,
I don't remember anything
like the fact
from
that
that
he
age anyway.
wanted to kill
So
police.
I
Police are
never
good
have
guys.
a clue who
They're
they
trying
are.
to do the right thing, but they're
Until
getting
he
his
shows
way.
up with another one of his friends, and the friend asks
Well.
me if I remembered him.
Um,
So I'm like, yes, I do.
in
But
general,
no.
well,
Once when I
at
was
least I
just a
feel like they
baby.
presented the police force
Koichi
like
just
they weren't
bursts
corrupt or
out
anything in that
laughing
show.
and says,
That's fair.
actually,
But
this
also,
is one of his carpenter
the reason I bring it
friends.
up
Turns
is,
out he's a lot
I
younger than he looks.
hated the way it
Just a
ended.
few years older than me.
Not that I hated that Light
I went
died
bright
and lost.
red and
No,
must
I'm
apologize
fine
like
with that.
a million
It's just the
times.
way that he lost.
Well, I was
This
gonna say,
random.
I you know, like L was a great character, and I felt like I think we talked about how I felt like the show died when he died, and it to me it just didn't make any sense. I felt like he should have. Yeah, he could have
If you
died.
ever
by the
wanna
way.
trade
It makes
tactics,
sense that his
I'm
character
always ready.
probably would have died, but he
No,
would
it
have
was the
had
old-
things set in place so Light would have actually been taken out in the long run because he killed him.
Well, yeah, no.
It was
So
like a
it's
trap almost.
a game of cat and mouse where the mouse finally thought it killed the rat, and then eventually he's like, "Oh no, you're actually dead." So this is the thing. In the this is something that came out way after the anime.
Yeah.
The Japan did a live action show, not a movie, a live action show of
Yeah.
Death Note, which had a very low budget. It's pretty mid. It's basically just Death Note, but like on a like $20 an episode budget, with where they put the entire budget into Ryu. But it was fine.
The
I
boat
thought
is
the show
already
was
and
good.
waiting. I'll mark the location for you on the
And
map.
then it got to the part where
Before
Elle
you
died.
leave,
I'm like, okay, maybe I should just
recommend
stop
that
here.
you
But I'm
pack
like,
some
no,
food and
let's
water.
just keep
You
watching and
can
see what
never be
happens.
too prepared.
And so it kind of is like he's playing like the
After how much effort it
overconfident
took to
mouth
get back in,
cat playing with like
it's
its
hard to
food
convince
when he's dealing
myself
with
to
the
leave
two
again.
proteges of Elle.
Especially
Right.
when I'll be going up against the
But
stormy
then,
ocean on a tiny little boat.
Light
My
gets quote
prospects
unquote
don't look
trapped
great.
by the kid,
Well,
and
they won't
then a
look much
video
better if you get
plays
caught
of
by the
Elle
Tenryou
being like,
Commission.
well, Light,
Hopefully, but sooner or later,
if
they
you're
are going to
here,
find you here.
that means I was
Time's
right,
starting to run out.
and you are Kira.
I'm sorry.
Mhm.
I'll make sure to get out
And
of
it
here
was
before
just
they come.
this whole thing
I
of
promise, I
it was
won't
still
cause you and your
Elle from
family any
behind the
more trouble.
scenes.
Yes.
And he
Don't
knew
mean
it from
like
the entire
that.
time. And I'm like,
If we ever
yes,
ran into any
that is how I would
I'm
have
sure I'd
liked
figure
Death
something
Note to
out.
have actually ended.
But if
So
the
I
Tenryou
actually
Commission
got
does
to
catch
see
up to
that
you,
ending.
they make a run for the boat.
So I was really
Okay.
happy about
And,
that.
and I
won't let
feel
them
like,
catch
that,
me.
like I said, but that should have been
But-
the real ending.
Yeah.
Don't get
It
me
should
wrong,
not
I,
have-
I think
Guess
his
this whole
protege
trip was a
could have been
waste in the end.
smart and all that. It's just,
Why
but
did
it
you
was
want to come back to
it was a
Inazuma
battle
anyway?
between Light
Is there
and Elle
something
the
you
whole
wanted to
time. Like
do?
that's what the story was really
I
about.
didn't used
It's
to
like,
this
I
place
don't
at all.
care if the
That's why
proteges
I
are
left.
smart. The game of
But
cat and
looking back
mouse
on things
was
now,
between Light
Mhm.
and
I was
between
really just
Elle.
running away from my
Light
responsibilities.
won the game of cat
Once I
and
started to
mouse.
realize that, I
You
got
can't go back
restless.
on that.
Yep.
I couldn't stop thinking about the people
Going
and the
back,
things I'd left
well,
behind.
not go back on it, but like you
So
can't
I-
try to recreate the magic that
Ah,
those two
forget it.
had.
What does it
Mhm.
matter now?
No, you
It's
can't.
too late anyway. I originally wanted to make up for all my
Like
regrets. but instead,
even just
I found
trying
myself
to
in
is
the
just an
situation I'm
affront
in
to
now.
everything that the first part of
What
the
a
season
pity.
had.
Mhm.
Talk to us about it. Maybe we could.
If only there
It's
was
like
some sort of
trying to
decree,
have
huh?
Lush doing what he did at the end of
Anyway,
Code
don't
Geass be
worry,
just the
we're not
ending of
going to bother
season
you about
1,
it.
and then they have a whole
We'll
other
keep
season
trying to buy
after
you as
that.
much
Like,
time
you
as
can't do
possible
that.
until you reach your final
Or-
It
decision.
just doesn't work.
Lelouch
The Tenryou
is
Commission.
not who he is
If
at the
only they
end.
weren't so
and he is
overzealous,
who
there
he's
might be
portraying
a
as, and you're
way.
like, wait, what?
Oh, that's right. That elderly couple
that's not
who
the point of the
customers
show.
ours. Their son's in the
That
Tenryou
everyone's
Commission,
bad?
isn't he? Yeah, quite high up as well.
But
That's it. I'll go talk to them. Maybe they can do something.
but yeah, no. Just,
Are you
All right.
sure they won't just
next
report me
category.
instead?
Oh, don't worry about that. They're really nice people. I know them well. They won't cause us any issues.
Spin the
All right.
wheel.
You should get back indoors, Sakajiro. We'll be back in no time at all. Okay, let's go. Time waits for no one. Wait.
What's the
hang
new
on.
one?
Really?
What about
Really?
the fireworks?
I want a
All
new
those
one.
materials?
That's
Oh,
Genshin.
there's so many orders of
Okay,
them.
you re-roll it.
Pops, Pops.
Reroll it.
No, never mind. I know. I'll write him a note telling him to sort out the
Okay, this
fireworks.
one's doable. Food.
Him. Why did you cut Paimon off
All
earlier?
right, so food.
Because what he needs isn't an answer.
Well, I'm vegetarian, so
Just
like
time.
I only eat so much food. But the stuff I eat is good. I love how that, you know, in the past you really couldn't eat too much good vegetarian stuff, but they've gotten like Beyond Burgers and all that. And honestly, that's just a big changer in, you know, how I eat, which makes me happy.
Yeah, what's really funny is like people are trying to say that Gordon Ramsay's going vegan, and I'm like, no, he's
Wait.
not.
It's going to what?
That Gordon Ramsay was going vegan.
Oh, no.
And I'm like,
I think that's
like,
impossible.
this is Gordon fucking Ramsay we're
Yeah.
talking about. Like,
Yeah, even if he like had the thought of it, like he has to taste stuff. Like when you make a meat, you know, like you have to know if it's perfection or not. Like, yeah, unless he's retiring, that's not.
no,
happening.
so it was so the joke was he's going vegan for lunch.
That's pretty funny.
Well,
Yeah.
if it isn't
I actually don't have a lot
Yoimiya,
to talk about
come
when it
on
comes
Well,
in,
what do you
dear.
eat?
Come
What-
and take a
what's your
seat.
favorite types of food?
Are these two your friends?
Dude, I love a good burger.
Yes,
Any
they're travelers from afar.
beef,
Outsiders have
or
a
lamb.
very difficult time
Okay, never
getting
mind. We
into
can talk about
Inazuma
food.
nowadays.
Lamb,
Indeed,
dude.
these are
Like
unprecedented
euros.
But seeing as they
Dude,
came
when there's
all
a
this way,
when you find
we
a good
locals should
euro
give them
place,
a warm
it's just
welcome.
chef's kiss. Love it.
Mm. Oh,
I feel like I had a
before I
burger
forget,
that was like,
I brought the
these are the most
fireworks that you
expensive
ordered.
burgers. This is,
Oh,
you know,
thank
obviously I
you,
wasn't
dear.
vegetarian all
Your
my life.
family is so good to
I
us
had meat,
every year.
and I love meat.
First your
I just
father,
choose
and
not to
now
because I don't want
you.
to kill myself. I don't like
I
killing
wonder if I'll still be
Uh,
around to
but,
see the
uh,
next hair
but
of
I had a burger place
Naganahara
that, you know, was like
fireworks.
$50
Of course
burger
you
or something
will.
like that.
You're both in great health.
I have to admit,
Don't say
they were
things like
pretty
that.
damn good.
Bad luck.
We aren't as young as
yeah.
we once
Well,
were.
what's your favorite type of
though.
burger?
The body knows it.
Ooh.
It used to be that I could
well, I mean,
spend
burgers
all
are
day
burgers, but,
working
like,
the
I mean, a
land,
good
carrying
cheeseburger with a
water
fried
back
egg.
and forth.
Oh, that's
But
Oh.
now, even a
Maybe
moment
a
of
little
light
guacamole.
work leaves me with all sorts of
Mhm.
aches and pains. I wanted to
Yeah,
do
and
some
with the new
weeding yesterday,
Beyond or the
but as
Beyond
soon
Meat,
as I bent
Beyond
down
Meat.
to
Oh
get
my god.
started,
No, I can't
suddenly
do the
felt
Beyond
that if
Meat
I went
because
any
the Beyond
further,
Meat actually is
I
higher in
wouldn't be able
sodium
to get
content
back
than
up
regular
again.
beef.
Oh, I
No
bet.
worries.
Yeah, I wouldn't be
Say no
surprised.
more. We'll
Well,
handle
like
it.
I mean, like by a good, like almost double the amount of sodium because
We
that's how
can't
it
be
actually
putting
keeps
you
its
to
flavor.
work when you're a guest in our home.
And like, I'm sorry, but
I'll
that
just
amount
go
of sodium
fetch
is
the
gonna fucking
tea
kill
and some
me.
snacks, and
Like,
then we'll
I might
continue our
actually do that.
conversation.
So
It's
I think it's
fine.
important to me
It's not
that
like it's the first time I've helped you with
whatever I
chores.
eat is spicy.
I
I
just
love
haven't
spice.
had much time
Spicy
recently
stuff.
with the fireworks show
absolutely.
coming up. But
Oh,
once
dude,
that's
no,
out of
like
the way, I'll be sure to
I
come by more
have
often.
just right now I've been having
No
these like
trouble,
frozen meals.
really.
Uh-huh.
We don't
And
mind
they've been
helping.
so bland lately. I'm just like, when I
You're
first started having them, like,
such
oh, these are
good
great.
kids.
But like the
As
Chipotle
for
chicken thing,
mine,
it's just like
he's
it's just like a
all
butter
grown up
sauce now
now.
with like
Hasn't found
some
anyone yet.
like not even a
And he
third of a
doesn't
chopped up
visit very
pepper
often.
Uh-huh.
in it, and I'm like, this is so
If you're
bland. I've
quite
stopped
sure
buying
it's no
those because it's just
trouble,
like I can't
then
think of a way to make it good.
I
Uh-huh.
have some
But
pickled
there's this
radish
like
here. Would you
fake
mind delivering it to
pork
Satoru on the
boneless
other
rib
side
thing
of the village?
with mac and cheese, and I've been
Sure.
what
It
I've been
won't
doing
take
is
us a
after I cook
moment.
them, I just
The
spread
other folks
jalapenos
aren't
all over
very
it. It's like,
mobile,
oh, it's so
so
good.
come on, let's help them out.
Huh.
And then
We'll get rid of the weeds first, and then
the
deliver
fried
the pickled
chicken
radish.
with mac and cheese that I get. It's basically just two big meat patties, so it's like a lot of protein and then a little starch. For the chicken, I also throw some jalapenos, but I also add some hot sauce. It's like, oh, that's just so good.
So, this is chicken wings. Have you had like, you went to a place and got like the spiciest or the hottest chicken wings you could possibly get? And I did that. And I think that's really fun because, you know, you like kill yourself trying to do it. Like sometimes you're like,
Thank
I can
you,
handle
dears.
this. And it's like just god awful
Sorry
hot.
to make you run
but
errands
it's super
for us.
juicy, which that's why I
I'll
like
brew
stuff
some
like that.
tea and prepare some
Oh,
snacks. for when
they're
you get
asking you to
back.
clean up their garden.
I saw. Actually in the background now.
Yeah, but I remember back in high school, me and a friend of mine, we challenged each other to a hot wing eating contest because we went to Zaxby's for one of our dinners, and so we got the hottest hot sauce that they had for the wings. We each got a 10 platter, and we're like, okay, cool. Whoever eats the most wings wins. He wimped out at 3. I ate 7.
Wow.
I couldn't eat all 10. I was just like, ugh. I made the mistake of drinking Fanta between like everything. So, fun fact, if you're eating really spicy food and having a lot of it, don't wash off. Just keep plowing through it. Because the science behind what it is your body immediately starts to try healing. Because when you eat spicy food, it like breaks down proteins and stuff like on your tongue and stuff.
Yeah, you got it.
And so
And
when you
that's it.
wash it down, then your body immediately starts trying to the healing process of fixing those broken proteins. But if you then immediately hit it with more spice, it actually does more
Thank you,
damage than it
dears.
the original did.
Oh,
And it actually
sorry
gets
to make you
that's
run
why it
errands for
hurts
us.
more when you have
I'll
when you
brew
do that.
some tea and
Yeah,
prepare
yeah.
some snacks for when you get back.
Science fact with Horn Hero.
So I
Satoru is on the other side of
love-
the village. Let's go see him now.
is it Five Guys? I think it's Five Guys.
Oh,
They
yeah,
have these.
Five Guys is good.
Now I haven't obviously been there in a while, so they could have changed the recipe of it. But at least 5 years ago or 7 years ago, they
If
have
you
these
ever
hot
want to trade
dogs
tactics,
that they would
I'm
cut
always
in
ready.
half, or split the dog into two. Oh, and they would cook it, like fry it. Holy shit, that was so damn good. It was.
Oh, yeah.
I loved it, and that's like being a vegetarian. You can't get stuff like that. Like even if you get close, it's just still not like that.
It's just not the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a place called Freddy's. There's a couple of them in this state. It's a franchise, and they have these things
How
that are
have you
just so
been? Keeping well?
addictive.
Yeah,
It's
same as usual.
They
Not
call
much
them
has changed.
Chicago-style dogs.
You're looking full of life.
It's
as
in like
always.
a
Well, thanks
toast.
to the support of our loyal
Like,
customers,
The
family
bun
business
is
just
more
keeps
toast
getting
than it is
better
like a
and better.
regular hot dog bun.
We sold some fireworks
And
from
then
the
you've
UN
got
a
your
while back,
the
and word
wiener
is
in
they
it,
were
and
a
then you've
real
got
hit.
some like
So it looks like we'll be
toasted
getting more business
tomatoes.
from over there in
You
the
got
future.
some onions that were
That
nice
must
and
mean a
toasted,
lot
or,
more work for you, though.
fried a little bit.
Are you
I don't know
sure
what
you
it
and
is to
Mr.
do with it.
Ryunosuke can manage?
And they have these 2 long
If it
peppers
gets
in it,
too
and
much,
it's
don't forget, you can always ask me for help.
I was like, oh my god,
We
this
should be
is good.
fine.
And, like,
I
then
think we
maybe
can
add
go.
like a little relish. Ugh.
Oh, yeah.
No,
This
yeah.
is some pickled
And
radish
of course,
from
chili
Mrs.
cheese dogs
Imatani.
is just the bomb.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Thank you
No,
so
I
much.
love chili cheese
I
dogs.
never used to be a fan of pickled radish, would you believe?
Honestly, just chili
But
in
then
general
I
is
tried some
good.
of
It is,
Mrs.
it is.
Imatani's homemade stuff, and
And
I couldn't get enough
have you
of it. It's a
tried
family
making
staple
a
now.
vegan chili?
Speaking of your
Yeah,
family,
yeah.
how's everyone doing?
I eat that.
They're doing
actually
well.
a decent amount because it's not that
We
hard
have
to
the
make.
occasional heated
You know,
argument,
so,
but I guess that's every
and
family
you can,
ever.
well, obviously make it spicy.
Being
You can
close
control
to
the level of
family
spice
is
in
better
it.
than never getting to
and I
see
eat it
them.
pretty spicy.
Even if it does
I
mean
love
putting
it.
up with some conflict.
And it's
Now,
good, you know,
Mr. and Mrs.
for a
Imatani seem
vegetarian,
to
I
have
mean,
a
your
great
protein,
relationship. But still,
you know,
they must get lonely
you
with their
basically get more
child never
stuff, I should say,
visiting.
when it comes right down to it.
Huh. They didn't
Oh,
seem
yeah.
that way to me.
Oh.
I think
And
they're just
then,
used to it. You
oh,
make a good
cake.
point, though. I should drop by more often in the
I'm
future.
actually not
That
a
way
big
they
fan
won't
of
get so
cake.
I was
bored.
about to say, I was like, I'm not a big fan of cake.
Oh, I'm sure
But
they
But-
love
doesn't mean that
that.
there's not good
As would all
cake
of
out
us
there.
in Konda
No,
Village.
I was like, I'm
You're
not
always
really a big
welcome
fan of
here.
cake. However,
Thank
my
you.
grandmother on my dad's side
Now that we finished all the chores, it's time
had
to
a
talk to
secret
Imatani's
family
about
recipe
Sakajiro.
Huh?
Dutch chocolate cake.
All right.
It was super dense and super moist. It's basically more like a brownie than it was a cake.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But
Which
it
brownies are great.
was
Can be great.
so good. It was so good.
That was quick.
And she
Young
refused to
people
give that
are so
recipe
handy.
to anyone. But
Younger
right before
people
she
have
died,
bundles of
she gave
energy,
the recipe to
and
my
older
sister,
people
who
have a
has
wealth
been
of wisdom.
holding on to it
Each
with a
have their
grudge, and I'm
strengths.
like, I want this recipe.
Speaking of youth,
Can
do
your sister
you know
even
what?
make
It's
it
been
properly?
50 years
Yes, she
this
has made
year.
it, and it's
Oh, so
Okay,
it
that's good,
has.
that's good.
Goodness, how the time
no. My
flies.
sister actually
You
went to
barely
culinary
notice
school
as
for
the
a little
years
bit.
go
She,
by.
she
Oh.
actually
and
knows how to cook.
suddenly,
Okay.
50 years have
Well, I
passed.
say that, but then like
50
she
years
always
since
undercooks
what?
the
Some
steaks
important
every
day?
time, and it's like, girl, you went to
Well,
culinary
if you
school.
must know,
How do you
it was
not
50
know how to cook a
years
fucking
ago,
steak?
back in the days when
I
this
hate
young
steak.
lady was still trying to win me over. That
I love steaks. Steak
Oh,
is so good.
stop
So I
trying
love
to
ice cream,
impress
like-
them. We
Like a
both
plain
know you were the
vanilla
one who
or
was hopelessly
vanilla ice
smitten
cream,
and desperately
strawberry,
trying to
you know,
win my
I love
affection.
those. But
Well,
I love a
maybe
decent
you're
amount of ice
right.
cream in general.
50 years
That's like
ago,
something that
would
I
be hard
to get rid
proposed
of.
to my wife at the
Rainbow sherbet?
Naganahara fireworks
Oh,
show.
yeah. Anything
We've
fruity.
been
oh.
together ever since.
Dude, I could devour a
To
whole
tell the
gallon
truth,
tub of
I
rainbow
was
sherbet.
still a
That shit
little
is so
uncertain.
good.
I wasn't sure what I was
It's
doing
funny,
when I
like, when you
walked
see,
into
like,
the
some slices of
Naganahara's
live
shop and
animes,
ordered my
they have, like,
firework.
these, like, desserts. I guess
Even
it's
as
like
it was rising up into the
they're not
sky,
supposed to be eating it, but
I
like they
still
go out
had
with
no
like their
clue
friends.
what
They'll
I was
sometimes get,
going
like,
to
this
say.
ridiculous,
But then
you
it
know,
exploded. The
dessert
sky
looking,
lit up.
usually ice
I
cream.
looked back at her and saw
and I
her
love when, like, the
eyes
guys are like,
twinkling in the
you
light
know,
of the
try to
fireworks.
sneak. They're like, I'm not allowed to do this because
Before
I
I
have to be
knew
like
what
the
was
man, but
happening,
they sometimes
apparently,
sneak in, you
I'd
know,
already said
the
it.
desserts.
And,
A fun little
well,
thing.
she'd said yes.
50 years.
All right.
In
New
some ways, it's a
category.
long time. In others, it's no time at all. Really,
Akadi,
it's
spin the
just
wheel
a
again.
number. But 50 years of
Bye-bye,
being
Kinos.
together,
Have a good night.
Bye-bye,
now
Kinos.
that is something
There's
worth
the thing.
commemorating.
Gonna disconnect.
I had no idea it was your 50th
We'll miss you.
anniversary. If I'd
All
known,
right,
I would have made
Song
some
of Ice
extra
and Fire.
fancy fireworks just for you.
Well,
Oh no,
there are
it's
new
quite all
episodes
right.
of
We always
Why
set
didn't
off
you
the
just put
same firework
GOT?
every year.
because
It
this
wouldn't
is
be the
all of
same
Song of
without
Ice and
it.
Fire. This could be House of Dragons.
Seeing that firework go off takes us
Oh,
right
so you have
back to those
GOT,
days.
Hot D, and
Even
then
at
A
this
Song of Ice and
age,
Fire?
we still
Yeah, like
look
everything
back
in
with
one,
not
so we
a
can talk about
single
any category in
regret.
it. Well, since there are new
What a
episodes
great
of
relationship they have.
House of Dragons.
Enough about us, though.
Um,
Yoimiya,
do you
aren't
think of the
you busy
episode?
with the fireworks
Or
show
the
coming
season
up?
so far? There's
Was
3
there
episodes.
something we needed to
This
discuss?
season has been really interesting.
It's a difficult thing to talk about.
I have
but
not read the
here
book,
goes.
and honestly,
either.
as part of my thing, I just refuse to read books anymore.
Sakujiro.
I
So
love
he came
books,
back.
but if it's gonna have a show,
You know
I'd
him?
rather just just watch the
He
show
was
and
our
let
boy's
them tell
best
their
friend
story
when they
first,
were
and then if I'm
young.
actually interested enough, I might read it.
They were inseparable. They grew up
Yeah,
together,
yeah.
shared
That's
everything with
understandable.
each
I mean,
other,
it takes a lot of time
and went
to
everywhere together.
invest in reading.
But one
you know.
day,
I mean, George R. R.
they
Martin
had a
books are huge.
terrible
There are many
argument.
fantasy,
Oh,
people that have
Don't
huge
worry
books.
about. I was gonna say,
Sakujiro
don't worry
seemed
about
to feel that
size.
Inazuma was too peaceful.
I
and
read
wanted
the
to see what the
entire
outside world was
Dune
like.
saga,
But our
all
Keisuke took after
15
his
books
father and
at
mother.
1,000 pages
He
apiece.
felt that there was nothing
And
wrong
I
at
read
all with
the
being
entire
peaceful.
Sword of Truth series, which
You
is
know what
another
children
13
are like,
books at about
and they
another
get
like
terribly
700 to
worked
800
up about
pages
these
apiece.
sorts of
I don't
things.
care about how long they
In
are.
the end,
The thing
Sakujiro
is
stormed
that
off, and
I
that
don't want
was
spoilers
that.
for the show.
I see.
I want
That's
to
fair.
watch the show and
Keisuke
let
said nothing to
the
me or my
directors
wife about the
and
fight.
the
We
everyone,
could sense that
the
he was very
writers, the
hurt by
actors,
it, but
let them
he
tell
didn't
the
want to talk
story
with
that they
us
want
about
to
how
show
he was
me.
really feeling.
And if I think that there was
Eventually,
something I didn't like
whether out
about
of
it, or if it
pent-up
ended
anger or
poorly,
for some other reason,
then I would
he
go,
joined the Tenryo Commission.
then I would go
He
back and
rarely
I
comes
would
home
read the
anymore.
reference material
If
and
it
I
was
would
anything else, I could
reevaluate
talk
the
to
ending, and then
Keisuke,
I would
and I'm sure
reconstruct the
he'd be
ending in
willing
my
to
mind
help.
and create a new ending
But
for
since
myself.
it's
Yeah.
Sakujiro, I don't feel
Okay.
there's any way we can get involved.
I do like how the series feels. So one of the things I felt
I
like
understand
Game
now.
of Thrones did
When I asked Sakujiro why he
very
came back,
good, at least
he
on
just
the
said
earlier seasons, is
because of
they
past
took their
mistakes
freaking
and wasn't
time.
willing to
They
elaborate.
let the characters grow.
Now I finally understand why he
They-
can't decide what to do.
You know, like there's not going to be action every freaking time. It's understandable.
there
We're not
shouldn't
stupid. We understand that as an audience. Take your time. Let us get used to these characters. Let us sympathize or not sympathize with the character, but just
Let
take your
us
time.
live with the characters.
Exactly.
Come on.
And they're doing that with the show. You know, I feel like it's not. They're not. Obviously, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of characters, which is also extra important to take your time.
But I actually do have a pretty big gripe with this show.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
no worries.
Years
If
is
that's
a
the case, then never
long
mind.
time, and she
We can
never
find
got
some
a
other way to
chance to
help
talk with her
Sakujiro.
dad in
There's no need
those
to make things difficult for you.
2 years between
This
episodes
sounds
2
like
and
something
3.
for Sakujiro and Keisuke
I'm
to
sorry,
resolve
that's
between
just
themselves.
unfeasible to me.
Yes.
Now, maybe they have. They
It'd be
just been
so nice if they
grudgingly
could go back to the way things were.
I
ignoring each
think
other.
after all
No,
these
I don't
years,
care.
they ought
That
to
kind
let
of
go
beef
of their
should be able to be
grudges.
squashed within 4 to 6 months. I don't care.
Well,
People
can't say we
really
didn't
seem to
try.
underestimate how
I'll let
much
Sakujiro know after we get back.
time a year is. Like, it's like nowadays years feel like nothing because we have things like social media and video games and phones, so time can fly like it's nothing.
Well, she
But
could
that's
fly.
not something
She has
that
a
happened
dragon.
back then.
I'm just-
Okay, but like that's not enough. Like, there's, I mean, I guess there are books, but it's still just like it's not the same. Time is much more concrete for them. It's much slower.
Mhm.
So passing the time then is a lot different. So the time doesn't feel like it's flying as
Yoimiya,
fast.
something bad's
And
happened. Some
you
people
don't
from the
hold that
Tenryo
kind of
Commission
beef
came by.
for 2 years without one side or the other getting in communication with the other.
Pops,
Like,
are you alright?
her father
They
would
didn't
have,
do anything to
like,
you, did they?
first off, I guess,
told
like,
them the
you could
show
say,
was
oh, well,
starting
they
soon and the
had to
place was
plan
filled
for
with
the wedding,
fireworks, so
and
they
then
shouldn't go in
all that
because
much.
it's a
Okay,
fire
but still,
hazard.
there's the 9 months of their
But they
pregnancy
didn't listen.
before the kid
It
comes out.
seemed like they knew Sakujiro
And also,
was inside.
something that confused me was,
Sakujiro
how is
heard
it
them
a
coming
2-year
in time
jump
and managed to escape
if
through the window.
how
The
was
Tenryo
did they
Commission
did
wasn't
he
able to
already
capture
have
him.
sex with her so that she
Oh,
was
this
about
is
to
bad
give
news.
birth?
I
Because
don't
they
think
said that
Sakujiro had
it was
enough
a
time to
celebration
make
of
it
his
lined up.
second name day,
Pops,
which means it's
did you
been
see
2
where he
years
went?
from him being
Oh,
born.
The
no,
Tenryo
you-
Commission will definitely be
wait.
chasing after him.
You know what? I could be wrong on this, and this is, I would have to, actually do more details. I could ask like Sean or somebody. I think 2 years is actually 1 year in Game of Thrones. I think, obviously, they need to make it better because I'm not for certain. I think when they're born, that's their name day 1.
Okay.
And it would make more sense because there's no way that kid is 2 years old and doesn't know how to talk and all that other stuff. Well, at least it would be, it's harder, like babies, I think, start learning how to do a little bit more things at 2. And it
Okay,
felt
to
like,
be fair, I don't understand the timeline for kids learning how to talk and stuff.
That's
That's
fair,
not
too.
something that I'm very familiar
Yeah,
with.
yeah, yeah. And that's what I said. I don't know it's 100%, but
Okay, so
I do
if
remember
his second name date is his first birthday,
Yeah.
like first birthday after being born, I'm like, okay, that's
Good
fine. That
point.
makes that then everything
Means
that matches up and it's
reading
fine.
names.
I actually
Never
think
mind.
that yeah,
Suddenly
it makes more
showing
sense
up
because
like
I was
Surely it
baffled by
must
that
be
too. I was like,
Casey's
wait,
doing.
what?
The commission wouldn't normally cause this big of
It's
a
been
fuss
2
over a
years.
stowaway.
She wasn't even pregnant. She has to be pregnant for 9 months before the
Sorry,
kid is even
my ears
born.
are no good.
And like
I
I said,
didn't get a
does he
good
just
look
sleep
at
with her
them either.
immediately?
If
It's
you're
probably not the
wondering
case.
which
She's
way they
probably gonna
went,
they're
they
gonna
left
have
the
to get,
city.
you know, arranged
I
marriage. It's
wish
gonna
I
take at
caught
least a
their
week, a month.
names.
Yeah, it has to.
But I didn't hear
I
a
feel like
thing.
the more I think about it, that's
As
a
it
year.
happens, I did. I was
Also,
getting
I
some ore from my
found that there
friend's
was some funny
place and
things.
happened to
Like,
bump into
yeah, he
them on the way
won't.
over.
He definitely won't
I
marry
think
the
their leader's
12-year-old
name was
Lena,
Keisuke,
but he'll
just like you
he'll
said.
marry the 15-year-old other girl.
Just as I thought.
Like,
Thanks.
Well,
they're
That's
only
not-
3 years
Still
apart.
hasn't made up his
they are
mind.
only 3 years
Those two
apart. But
running
if you
into
look,
each other won't
I
solve
mean, this is
anything.
like bad to say, but like
And even
one
worse,
looks
there'll be no
more
coming back from it for
Adult.
Sakura.
mature than the other. Like
We
the other one
can't
just
let
looks
that
like a kid, like an
Come with
actual
me.
like.
Let's
Oh
track him
yeah,
down.
no. I know, but like a lot of people
you're
have
right, it
pointed
doesn't
out
help.
that
I did think about that too. I thought that was like interesting, and I was like, that's so weird. Now back then, 30-year-olds married 12 or 13-year-olds. I guess it depends on when they have their
I
period.
mean, Daenerys was supposed to be 12 when she married Drogo.
Yeah, it's so weird thinking about that because you're like, ugh, that's so wrong, and you know, but it's different back then. So, but does it make it less weird? You know?
Yeah. Now, one of the things that I was thinking about while listening to the dialogue in this season, or this episode, season, whatever, was how more medieval and more fantasy the dialogue felt.
It's Matsusaka and his
Okay.
friends.
The way they talked, their pentameter,
Hi,
and
Yoimiya.
like
Are the
the
weapons to scare
verbiage
away
that
the
they
great Regina
use
yokai
Uh-huh.
ready yet?
all made it
Oh,
feel
Mr.
older
Ryunosuke
and
is
more
making them right now. You can go collect them from the house later.
fantastical.
Yeah.
But
Aren't you
and
gonna
then
play
I
with
started
us,
thinking
Yoimiya?
about it, and the latter half
Sorry,
of Game of
I have
Thrones,
something important to do
they
right
kind
now.
of stopped
I'll be
talking
back
like
later
that.
on.
The
Oh,
first four
absolutely.
I'll bring you
seasons,
guys some candy
the
next
first
time.
4 seasons,
The extra sweet
they were
candy.
talking
I
like
love
that,
you
and
guys
it
love.
felt good. But then, like starting with season 5, they kind of stopped talking like that, and they talked in a more modern, like,
Candy.
And it's
a.
it's interesting that you brought that
Also,
up because
I wanted to
you know
ask you
obviously
guys
George R. R.
something.
Martin
Did you
did
see a
dialogue
bunch
in
of
the books.
scary-looking men come by
So
here at all?
it's not too hard to
we did.
adapt
It
literally
looked
what
like
they
were
say
chasing someone.
and put it into the show.
Are they trying to catch a monster
Now
too?
there are you know they were pretty
No,
consistent
don't worry.
because there are certain
It's all
scenes
just a
that
big
weren't in the
misunderstanding.
books, like
Be
Varys
good
and
kids
Littlefinger
and stay
stuff.
out of trouble, all right?
But it still
Stay in the
felt
city for now,
consistent.
and I'll come play
But
with you after the fireworks
You're right.
start.
That just
We
took
will.
a turn for
We'll
the
be on our
worst after
best behavior,
probably starting around
especially
season
for you,
5.
Yoimiya.
And I felt like that took
It looks
away
like
from
this is
that
the right way.
historic, the
Let's get
magic
going.
of the show dialogue.
If
You know,
Sakujiro still hasn't
But it
made
was
up
just
his
part of,
mind,
like, the-
I guess I'll have to
It
step
was
in.
just part of the atmosphere.
yeah, like you know the Dorn, like one of the Dorn girls like goes up to Braun and like whispers something that's like really crude and like kind of disgusting, and I was like, I just felt well.
You
obviously
want
it was-
the good girl, but you need the bad pussy.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, really? Like that's all you could come up with? You can't come up with something clever like the writers, because that's just bad dialogue. It's bad in so many ways. Like just not how it says, but like, this is how you're introducing this character to us. Like, is she stupid? You know, which I don't think she's supposed to
There are
be.
people from the Tenryu Commission over there.
Kind of go off.
Must be
you know?
them.
Anyway,
Yeah. But no, so there's just like, I didn't really think about it. Like, it wasn't something that really, like,
Sorry,
was
official
important to me.
business.
But then,
I
like, I
can't
started
let you
noticing, I'm
pass.
like, oh.
Sakujiro and Keisuke are up ahead,
Yeah,
right?
wait.
Need to talk to them about something.
Didn't you
Yeah,
hear
great,
me?
just another
You're
thing to
not
check off
getting
of the
past.
show shit. Show's kind of shit.
yeah. I mean,
You've only
I felt like I got
yourself to
disconnected
blame.
with characters in general, you know, after season 5-ish, you know, like so, oh wait, can I play the other character? Yes, I can. But yeah, obviously something fell off, and I wasn't
Withdraw.
as invested in you could argue the dialogue, you know, because the dialogue wasn't as good, wasn't as intriguing. But yeah, what do you think of the dragons? I think that we've seen 3 dragons so far, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I actually thought that the 3rd dragon that we saw in this most recent episode was just raining.
I did think it was the girls at first too. You know, I think it had hers is light, hers is maybe green. I could be wrong on that. And this one was like red and black.
Hers is golden.
Yeah, okay. I thought it was like lighter.
But it was just like I noticed that, but I'm also like, and also they kept the scene really well lit at night. I would have liked it if Prince had actually saved that guy instead of just having his dragon step on him.
Oh, you're talking about Damon's dragon?
Yeah, because like, could you imagine if Prince Damon had saved like a whole handful of people from that and brought them back to like King's Landing or whatever,
Yeah.
and he spreads the word of how King Damon came flying in like as his savior on the back of a dragon and saved him and his comrades from being devoured by crabs. That would give him a huge upswing for maybe becoming or getting back the seat of being the heir.
No, you're right. I kind of checked it up too. It's probably hard as hell,
Not even at the
even
edges
if
of
you're
the
a pro
world.
at being the dragon, to actually control the
The
dragon.
one with the loud
Yeah, but I
smell
also
kinda
think he
fast
just
feet.
wasn't paying attention to
Can't
him.
waste any more
That-
time on
it
these
wasn't
guys.
his
That
prime
too, yeah,
Let's
yeah.
push
Like
on.
it was like a big
should be just
mess
ahead.
down there, and he was trying to
Just do as much damage as possible.
exactly. And he wasn't
But
trying
it
to
was-
be villainous or anything.
But
He was
still, it was better than the long night because it was well lit.
It was a pretty interesting fight scene, you know. I wasn't expecting a big fight scene in episode 3, you know. It wasn't like
Yeah,
a
and
big, but it
Your
was
skills with the
big.
sword
I think I
have
mentioned this
stagnated,
earlier, but
Sakujiro.
I was not a
You
big
should have
fan
known
of
that you
how
stood
that
no
was
chance
directed.
against me in a duel.
It was a
Never
lot of
imagined
quick
I'd fall
cuts,
into
like
your
a bit of
hands.
shaky cam,
Yeah.
like out of focus, and a lot of like zoom-ins. And I'm like, no. For a battle like this, you
If
want to
this is
back
to
out.
be my
You
fate,
made an interesting
accept it.
area for them to be fighting,
I
and
have nothing
let
else to
people
say.
just kind of do their
But your
thing
return
there.
says that
Now,
you finally
maybe
came
they're-
around to my
I
point
don't know
of
this,
view.
you know, because I'm not the director or anything.
Whatever you
They were
say.
trying to show
You will
that
return with
it
me
was
to the
frantic
Tenryo
and
Commission
it
to
was
await your
chaotic
sentencing.
For him, and he didn't
The
know
one who made
100%
this
how
boat
he
will
was
also
going
be
to survive
punished.
it. So the camera was
Wait!
frantic close up.
I'm not talking about
Doesn't
that.
have to
Oh,
end
okay,
like
okay.
this.
When it was
Have
just
anything
Prince
else to say
Damon,
to one
Huh?
another?
perfect.
Hey, I know you.
That was fine.
You're not gonna hire
It's
as
when
good
it was the
Ah.
two
Makes the
armies
fireworks.
clashing. I'm like, no, this is awful.
I know you like to get
That makes
involved
sense.
in
Okay,
other people's
okay. I
business,
get what you're
but
talking
stay
about,
out of
the
it.
dragons and all
Think
that.
Does not
about how
concern you.
Endgame
It's okay,
shot their
Anya.
big battle sequence, where they kind of are
Past is the
sweeping over a
past.
battlefield, just
Why
seeing
did you
people
risk life and
killing
limb to
people
get
left
yourself
and right.
back into
You
Inazuma?
see,
Why
oh,
would you
Ant-Man
discover legends
punches
so
down
late
the
after you
big
got
thing, while
here?
Iron Man blasts a
I'll tell you
laser
why.
at
This is
someone.
why.
Yeah.
Or in Spider-Man
This is
swings
what
over to
we're
knock
here
into
for.
like
Talk
you
everything
just see
through.
stuff happening on the
I have
battlefield.
nothing to say to him.
That's the
He's
kind
a
of stuff that
criminal.
you should
I
have
work for
every
the Tenryo
single
Commission.
big
There was
battle
never any
be
room
like,
for
because
discussion.
that means every
Out of
time,
respect
because it's
for the
gonna be
friendship
something
we
people are gonna
once
want
had,
to
I
rewatch
gave him a
and
chance
notice
to
new
fight for
details
his
every
freedom.
time.
Right.
But his skills with the
Like,
sword are as disappointing
Having
now
enough,
as they
like we
ever
only
were.
have 3
What are you
named
talking
characters
about?
amongst the
Nothing
crowd in
kidding.
that battle, so we
You
don't
left
care
all
about
your subordinates
anyone
back there
else.
to guard
And
the
by the
road,
way,
making
those
sure
3 named
no one
characters
else
are
goes
Damon,
here.
who went off to
Seems
go
to
fight
me
the
like you
thing,
were
which
hoping for a
also
chance to talk.
he died off screen,
I
which
can
kind of
see it in your
sucked.
faces.
Yeah.
You both
I
have
was
The-
so
debating about
much
that. I was
to
like,
say.
was that good
And
or
you're
was
just
that
gonna
bad?
choose to
And
keep it
I
all
just took it up
inside?
to it wasn't important. He was supposed
It
to
was-
succeed,
Don't
and
flatter
he, you know,
yourself. What would
he
you
was
know?
shown he was victorious.
You and me,
Yeah,
But,
but
it was
and then
weird, yes.
and
was
then the
just
other
my
named
wishful
character was
thinking.
on the back of a dragon, so I'm
No, I
not worried
won't
about
leave
him.
it.
So we
I
have
will not
2
stand
named
around and
characters,
watch when
one
you
of which
haven't even
we've
done
already
anything.
determined is kind of a
Keisuke,
shitbag, maybe,
you
who
seem to like
knows.
settling
And
things
then
with a
there's
duel.
like
So,
the guy
let's
that
do
was
it
like
your
the
way.
other that's
I
married to
challenge
the
you to a
woman
duel.
Targaryen that
Yeah,
never
I win,
didn't get
then you have to say
Valerian.
So, like,
everything that's in your heart.
there's next to
No more
no
running from your
stakes.
feelings.
We don't care about any of
And
the
same
other
goes for you,
characters,
Sakujiro.
and so
If
we don't
I
get to
win,
see
you
the
tell
rest of the
Keisuke
battle. We
exactly
just
why
kind of
you came
focus on
back.
these guys
No
kind
matter
of
what the
talking and
consequences
being in the
are.
battle
You
during
have
that
to tell
time.
him
And that's
everything.
just not
If you
interesting.
don't say anything
Pan
now,
over, let us
then
see
you'll
the
never have another
battle.
chance.
When we're
And if
when
you
we're in the
lose,
middle of the ride of the
Then
Rohirrim
I'll admit to
during The
collaborating
Lord of the
with
Rings,
Sakajiro.
do we
and
just
accept the
focus
Tenryo Commission's
on
punishment.
one person with a super close in shot, or do we see the person
accept.
kind of like maybe in
Let's
the middle of the
settle this
frame, but we
with a
can see
duel.
an entire battle going on behind them?
Right.
We're here to back you up.
It's not just a couple scuffles here and there, we're seeing the whole battle at almost all times, and we're getting so many more
We
details
can't let her
every time.
fight them all alone.
Right. Oh, that makes sense.
It's like the film. The only thing I can say that was really well done, and this is not a really good thing in this movie, was I could tell that they spent money to make sure that everyone had cool armor, so we could tell who was fighting on which side.
Yeah.
But like that's not exactly a huge buff. Like that should just be the bare minimum. Like, remember in Witcher how they had a pretty big battle scene and that was pretty epic? We got to see a little bit of strategy in the first episode, nonetheless, where the queen fought.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the other fight with and the Witcher.
Well, yeah, that was also there. But like, we got to see a pretty big battle in just the first episode of Witcher,
Life goes on.
Yeah.
and that was really interesting. We got to see multiple characters fighting. We got to see a lot of things. There were a bunch of main characters kind of in there. It was a really important battle, like right off the beginning.
Sir, they are too strong. We need more men.
So, like,
Stand
and then
down.
like, oh, the good guys have gold
What?
armor, bad guys have black
I
armor.
thought I told
That's
you
like
to
the
stay away.
bare minimum
Now
of just making
stand
sure that you
down.
could tell who's which
Yes, sir.
side.
Sorry.
Yeah. Now this is one of the things. Actually, maybe I was a little worried about this.
Young lady,
the boss,
You
the
are just as
crab
obstinate as Sakujiro was
monster
back then.
villain, whatever
Why
you
were
want
you
to call
so
him.
convinced
Crab
that we
eater,
had
or
things
the
to
crab
say to each
feeder.
other?
He had grayscale, and I
Because
didn't know this.
Sakajiro may not have told me about you when he came
But I
back,
don't know
but he did
how.
order a firework from
like,
me.
Did he have grayscale?
Then
Yes.
your
I
parents
didn't
told
know
me
this
about
until I
what
watched an all
happened
shift
between
X
you when you were
thing.
younger.
And I was
Yeah,
like,
that's what he
I
said.
heard the story.
I did not know that.
I realized that the firework
Well,
meant something
we saw
special
that
to you
Damon
both.
touched his hand,
And
so
you
do
guys
you
simply
and there was
refused
blood
to
all
believe
over
that
the
you had
place, and I-
nothing to say to each other.
So
Nobody sets
now,
off a firework to
Serene
feel
had
lonely.
grayscale, but she
do
wasn't
they?
contagious. Was this guy like Serene who wasn't contagious, or
The
what?
reason I came back
Can
is
Well,
that
Damon get
re-
grace? The disease.
How do we
felt
know
lost.
Celine wasn't
it wasn't that I'd
contagious?
changed my mind.
Like-
I
Because no one
just
had it around
felt
her.
that what I'd done in the
Well,
past
no,
was
no,
to try to
but
escape
remember
from reality.
that they said that Stannis
saw the
almost
freedom
emptied
of
his
Mondstadt,
coffers, getting
the
maesters to
contracts of
come in
Liyue,
and at least
the
just
wisdom
stop
of
the
Sumeru,
spread.
and the
So
justice of
that
Fontaine.
maybe something they
It all
did
left a
made
deep
it so that it
impression on
wouldn't
me.
go to anyone
I
else.
was
Yeah.
glad
But like
that I'd
it
left
might have started
Inazuma,
off being
But
contagious.
then I
No,
happened
you're
to hear
absolutely
about
right.
the
Yes,
Sokoku
it definitely
decree.
was contagious when she was younger. I'm pretty
I
sure.
was an
And you're right,
escapee, and I was
once they
proud of that.
Stopped it.
What I should have
But I
tried
didn't know
to
if
do
like
is take
this
the
guy
good things
had
from
a
the
point where
outside
he
world
stopped.
and bring
Even though
them
I'm
back
pretty
home.
sure it's not, because I think
So
grayscale
that's
makes
why
you
you
go
came
insane,
back?
which this guy was
Out of your
clearly insane.
naive hope of changing the way things
so-
are here.
Raises the question.
No, I
does
let go
Damon
of all
have
those
grayscale,
delusions
or
of
did he
grandeur.
catch this thing?
just felt
I
that-
was wondering that, especially when
I never
you see
should
him
have run
drag
away
this
like that.
guy's body around with his hand.
After
Yes, that would be very
You
interesting.
never ran
So-
away. Huh?
I don't, like I said, I haven't read
I
the
don't
book,
know
so
about you,
maybe
but
he
life
catches
hasn't been easy
grayscale, and
for
I
me.
would not be surprised in the
But
slightest.
I just
That's
had
true.
to
Yeah,
come
yeah, I
back
haven't
and
read the book
visit.
either, so
Also, I don't know
It
if
was
you
like fate
noticed,
was calling me, and I couldn't
they
ignore it
have
any longer.
progressed his fingers worsen,
Life isn't
where
easy
they actually
for
cut them
anyone.
off at the
I
knuckle.
truly worship the Raiden Shogun.
Yeah.
For
Her ideas were my
Viserys.
personal
Oh.
creed, and I desired nothing more
If
than
Yeah, I
there's
to
don't
see
something
her
wrong
will
with him,
done.
like he's gonna die or
But
something.
now,
I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, probably.
role
But
is
no,
to
if you,
punish
I don't like.
violators of the
I am
Sokoku
always been
decree
paying attention
and
to those
confiscate
fingers
people's
because like.
visions.
But so like,
It's not
remember, he
what I
only had
signed
the
up
cut
for when
on
I
the
joined
pinky
the
finger,
Tenryo Commission.
but like
Oh,
throughout
yeah.
the
Am I really
throughout
doing
the
right
episode,
thing?
you saw that both his ring and pinky finger were like never
The vote is
moving.
yours.
Like even when he would pick up a
Huh?
class, those fingers never
I
moved.
couldn't
Yeah,
make
like
Whenever
the guy
he
in
was-
front is, like
Inazuma,
killing him.
but that doesn't
Yeah,
mean I want
when
to
he
keep
was
you here by
holding the
force.
spear, those fingers did
what
not
will you
move
say
to
to the
help rip
higher-ups?
around the lance.
Don't worry
Ah,
about
yeah, and
that.
that's why he had trouble
I'll handle it.
attacking it.
If you want to come back,
Interesting.
I hear the process of
Yeah,
returning to
and so
Inazuma from
then
the outside
later on in a
world
different
is long
scene,
and
we see that
complicated.
we finally
but
get a
it can be
close up
done.
of his hand,
I will lend you my
and
help,
we see
but
that
until
they've
then,
cut
you'll have
off
to wait.
his
And don't
pinky
kick
and
the bucket
his
on the way out.
ring finger
Don't
down to
worry,
like the
Keisuke.
knuckle.
I won't.
I think I may have.
Any chance we can watch the fireworks together?
Briefly noticed it, but I didn't.
Maybe next time.
Like
You did.
process it.
It didn't process, yeah. Like I saw that, I'm like, yo, wait, what?
That's insane.
I'll be demoted for sure.
But yeah, like I'm
It's
I'm
not like
keeping
me
an
to give
eye
in to
out for
childish
that.
sentiment
It's
like
like it's an important
Can't
detail.
explain why I
Yes.
went through with it.
I'm also trying to figure out who this Aegon is, like the son of.
It's Aegon the Second. They've said it. He's Aegon the He's Aegon the second of his name.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think of which one he is. Like, well, I'm trying to think of which Aegon is in the future because I know it's not this one, that one. But like,
Aegon the Mad King is Aegon the Third.
okay, that's good. That's good to know. I
So
also
it's
don't
probably-
like. I wish I knew which bloodline lived. You know, was the Mad King's basically relatives. 'Cause I have no clue. I assume that the main girl we're watching, the queen.
Yeah,
is gonna be her
Rhaenys.
bloodline. Yeah, but
Rhaenys is the great ancestor of Daenerys.
okay. I was pretty sure that was the case. But I
Like that's pretty much been confirmed to me. But like I watched the video that Alt Shift X uploaded about it, and I don't remember.
Oh yeah. There's also the boat.
It's the one that Sakujiro planned on using for his escape.
There's also I know that
asked
the
Yoshitaka
Blackfire
and the others
Rebellion
to
is a
transport it
thing
here,
even
citing the temporary contraband storage
nowadays.
clause.
Well, in the Game of Thrones.
Forcing Sakujiro to this spot was
story.
also something I had planned all along.
So Damon has to
just
have
like
a
you
kid, is
said,
my guess.
Yoimiya.
Doesn't mean
Even
he
though
doesn't
I hadn't
die,
fully made
but
up
I'm
my
assuming he
mind,
has to
my
have some type of
actions
kid in
betrayed
the
my
future
intent.
to carry on his lineage.
I think you did the right
Yeah,
thing.
because doesn't
And
his
now
kid
you've managed to
or
resolve the
someone related
grievance
to
in
his
your
kid
heart
become the
by
three-eyed
talking
raven?
about it.
I understand now. Thank you.
That's a good
I
question.
didn't know you were
I don't
quite
think
so
but
perceptive.
It's tricky.
You
because
saw
the
right into
Three-Eyed-
what I was
No, I think
thinking.
the Red Raven's related to
It's only because I know your parents so
the
well.
girl.
They're both really nice people, so I didn't think the apple would fall
And
too
I
I
think
thought
far
it
it's
was
from
a
the
part
tree.
black. I thought it was a
I
black.
had
fire
heard there
rebellion.
was a
Maybe
new
you're right. You
Naganohara
could be
running
right.
things these days. Little
Again,
loud
that's
and reckless,
referencing a
maybe,
video
but
I don't really
you live
remember
up to
that
the
well.
family name.
Yeah,
I'm not.
because there's a
By the way, Naganohara
Ashifet made
fireworks
one
can
of the
reproduce the firework that the
Three-Eyed
two of
Raven,
us set
and
off
I
back
think it
then,
explains it in there.
right?
Well, he
Would
also
you be
made
able to
one talking
make one
about
for
the
me?
Blackfire Rebellion
Sorry,
and
no
talking
can
about
do.
the
Without the
Targaryen
slipper
lineage.
reference, I
But
can't
I'm
get the
not
same
going
one
to go
again.
revisit those
And
because I
I'm
don't
afraid
want to
Sakujiro
accidentally
is the
spoil
one with
myself
the
for anything that
slip.
happens in this series.
That makes sense, yeah, because
I see.
I don't remember
Never
a
mind.
lot
then.
of this history stuff, so I just need to see
Don't get too
it
down just yet,
fresh
though.
how they're gonna do
I
it versus
mentioned
yeah,
that
you're right.
Sakujiro ordered a firework from me, didn't
Right.
I?
If you want
I
to
can't make
continue
another
it
one,
or do a
but
different
I'm
conversation,
guessing
that is
Sakujiro
fine.
probably
But I'm
won't be
going to
needing
go
his
use the restroom
anymore.
real quick.
It'd be a
Okay,
shame
yeah,
for it to
we'll
go to
spin the wheel
waste,
once you get
so
back.
I'll make an exception and let you set it off instead.
Thank you very much.
No worries. And don't miss out on the start of the fireworks show. Yoimiya! The way you took command of that whole situation was amazing! What can I say? I like to talk. I'm a strong believer in the power of words. If you're not willing to communicate, then the problem just sits there. If you just keep staring at it without doing anything, eventually you'll watch every last opportunity to resolve it slip away before your eyes. Sakujiro and Keisuke can't turn back the clock in their relationship, but that's no reason to live with remorse. Anyway, follow me. I'll bring you to the perfect place to watch the fireworks. My pups will set off the firework that I wanted to give to you.
I remember this place. This is where the festival was. Yay. Aha. No. awesome.
Huh?
Oh, hell yeah. I love fireworks.
Oh, it's... Keisuke.
Aw.
So, Yumiya, these fireworks, what do they mean to you?
Nice, I made it back in time.
Yeah, fireworks time.
Yumiya?
So beautiful.
It really is. Aw. This is like some deep thought. Or she's just enjoying it. That's
Maybe
cute.
both.
Both, yeah, yeah.
That was amazing.
It was.
It was so beautiful I could weep. I didn't actually
So before we
cry
spin
though,
the wheel,
right?
are
I
you
just
familiar with the
feel
song
a
called
bit
Dear Maria?
misty-eyed.
Dear Maria?
Yeah.
Like Final Fantasy VI? Maria.
No.
Oh,
then no, probably
remember
not.
that big one that went up first? The gold one? That's the one I
So
had
there's
Pops
a
make for you.
song called by a group called All Time Low called Dear
I'm
Maria
on
Count Me In.
side. It was one of the best
Okay, again, sorry.
ones. They won't forget that anytime soon.
The song's called Dear
That's what I
Maria
wanted to
Count Me
hear.
In. It's by a group called
I
All
was
Time
hoping it
Low.
would leave a deep
Yeah.
impression on you
And
guys.
the music
No matter
is
where
good
your
of
journey
it.
takes you,
And
no matter
the
what
beginning
hardships
lyrics,
might lie
I'm
ahead,
like,
I hope you'll
yo,
always be
that
able
is
to
some
look back
cool
fondly on the
imagery.
fireworks
I
you saw
can't
tonight.
wait to see
I
what
believe
other
that as
words
time
and
goes
stuff they
by,
use
this
to talk
firework
about
will
it.
only grow brighter and more beautiful in your heart.
And then they just repeat the same thing over and
and
over and
also,
over again. I'm like,
you're
no,
technically my customers now.
you fucked
Here,
it up.
This is your paper slip.
And
If
the
you
lyrics
ever want to see
in
that
the
golden
question are,
firework again, just
I
come
got your
and see me.
picture, I'm coming with you, dear Maria, count me in. There's a story at the bottom of this bottle, and I'm the pen.
Quiet, and it was like you couldn't hear
And I'm like,
anything
that's
at all.
interesting. It's like you're kind
Oh,
of
I can
getting
hear
drunk,
you.
but like
I just have a habit
after
of
you
being
finish the
silent
bottle,
while
there'll
watching
be a story,
fireworks.
and I'm the writer of the story.
Uh-huh.
That's kind of cool.
Quietly
It's
watching
really
something
interesting.
you made with your own
I'm
hands
like,
rise into
if
the
they
sky,
had that same kind of
feels like a sacred
ingenuity for the
ceremony to
rest
me.
of the lyrics, I think that
You
would have
asked
been
me
like
what
actually
fireworks
like
mean
might
to me,
have
right?
been like a top 10 or maybe even hit #1 at some point.
Well,
Yeah.
for Koichi, who
But
built
then
the boat
they
for us,
say
and
that
his friend,
so
Third
many
Sis,
times.
Fireworks commemorate friendship. For Keisuke's
And
parents,
it's like
they
I'm looking at the
commemorate
lyrics
merit.
and I'm just like, this is just depressing.
And for
Like, come on,
Keisuke
you
and
started so
Sakura,
strong.
they were
Don't just repeat it.
Oh yeah, right, the
Yeah, lyrics sometimes do
As for
that. That's
me,
unfortunate.
to be honest, even though I've thought about it countless times before, I still haven't found an answer. Seriously? Huh. Paimon was expecting
I assume this is the end of
deep and
this
philosophical.
quest line.
Well,
Yeah, it should
no
be.
one's ever asked me this before, so I've never really settled on an answer. It was by chance that I happened to be born into the Naganohara
Yeah, it's
family.
so interesting how
so
long
it was by
these,
chance that I ended up learning
character
this
quest
craft from my
stories
pops.
are.
It's also by chance that I've met so many people, learned so many things, and discovered that people
Alright.
associate watching
Well,
fireworks with the
back
things that
to
are
the
most
wheel.
precious to them. Fireworks that disappear
Unless
in a
after the
flash of
question we
light
just
are
called for the
probably
stream.
the
It
furthest
is
thing
5
away from the
o'clock.
It is
eternity
5
that our
o'clock. This will
Shogun
be our last
desires.
one.
But people's feelings don't just disappear.
Hopefully.
And it's those feelings that give fireworks their purpose. If nobody wanted to watch fireworks, then they wouldn't exist.
All right. This is my topic. The Walking
What is
Dead.
TW? Oh, The Walking Dead. Well, you've got free reign on this.
Yeah.
Also,
I don't
Okay,
really
so
know anything about
what was your
you have to have the
initial
Naganoharas
thoughts of The
because
Walking Dead
so
when it
many
first
people are
aired? I mean, 'cause this is
emotionally
back in like
invested in the
2010 when
existence
Game
of
of Thrones started
fireworks.
coming out.
If we didn't exist,
Here's
their
the
wishes
thing.
would go unfulfilled, wouldn't
I don't
they?
like zombies.
You know,
I
I don't
not
really
saying like,
think about
oh no, I
complicated
hate
things like
zombies.
this
I'm just
very
like, they're
often.
really
But I'm
boring.
proud that I was born into
They're
the
really
The
boring.
Naganohara
problem-
family.
They're really
And had the
boring
chance
as
to
a
make so many pretty
monster.
fireworks.
The problem is that I told you that I took a class and one of the themes was monsters.
Uh-huh.
And I think I missed that yesterday or last night. But when you talk about different types of monsters, all of them have some sort of societal reference.
Yeah.
Whereas like vampires represent the highest of society, basically. So like right now it represent Bezos and Gates and like Zuckerberg and stuff.
Yeah.
That's what the modern vampire should look like, but instead we keep going with this gothic kind of other thing, and that's not what a real vampire
It's hard
is.
to remain on dry
A
land
real
for so long.
vampire is a reflection of something in society. Well, that's what any monster is.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
The Frankenstein's monster is just a metaphor for people that, like people of science that are learning and creating new things, just to be shunned by society, to be like, no, you're wrong, and then like, but wait, I know the truth, and it's like, who cares? Die, burn. And zombies is just a reflection of people that don't have a brain, or people that are constantly looking for brains, but it doesn't really add anything to them.
Yeah.
And it's like not that interesting, and most of the time they just use it as a punching bag for people to just kill a bunch of things with. I think the only thing media that I've really liked, like I mean, of course, The Walking Dead, the video game was pretty interesting,
Yeah.
but I think my favorite thing
They
that
lost
zombies
glimpse.
were in.
First episode scared me that I told my sister I didn't want to watch it.
Was Zombieland.
Yeah, Zombieland was alright. I didn't mind it.
I think I watched it like 12 times when I
think I'll
first
stay
watched it. I'm
here
like,
for
yo, this is
but if you
fun.
wanted to chat,
This is
I'll
good
happily
cinema
oblige.
right here.
For you guys, I'll
The
do
characters
it.
were
I did
interesting,
force
the
it on you
action
after.
was good,
It's
the music was
fine.
good.
Also, it'd be
The
nice
acting was cheesy, and that was what made it so good.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
it
yeah,
actually
yeah.
really fun. There's like it's a movie that wasn't afraid to just be a joke, and
Oh, yeah.
that's all it needed to be. A movie that skips to the beat that they said.
I know
By the way,
what.
are you gonna go back to the game, or are you just gonna stay on the wheel?
Oh shit. Thanks for letting me know that. I completely forgot. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of horror, and I've always been interested in zombies. Now, to me, it's not zombies eat brains. Zombies eat. They go to their basic instinct to survive, and that is eating in general, which implies that they'll just eat you straight up. Like, they won't eat your brain, they'll eat your arm, they'll eat your leg, they'll eat your, they'll just devour you until you're dead. But they don't have like this like cap in their head that says they're stuffed ever.
I'm sorry, there was one other medium that I enjoyed their portrayal of zombies. That was the book Warm Bodies.
Okay.
In Warm Bodies, zombies were something that just kind of happened to people if they died and their heads weren't destroyed. And when they would eat people's brains, they would get to relive people's memories stored in the brain.
Okay.
And so it helped them feel more human. And then as they shambled along, their body parts would eventually deteriorate to the point where they're just bones. And like once they became that, they completely lost all sense of humanity. But like more recent zombies could still be kind of human.
So where the heck is he then?
And so the whole thing was that the whole ending of the thing is what made it really dumb. But like through the power of love, people could become, or zombies could become human again. Have either of you seen
Toma? No, we
said the power of love, they could what?
Why has
Zombies could become human again.
Oh.
And it's as I feared. On the way here, I heard that Toma had been taken away by the Embryo Commission.
Yes!
I wasn't certain whether it was true, so I came right here.
Sorry, this is a really
The fact that he hasn't arrived here as we arranged suggests that it is true. The Raiden Shogun is holding a vision hunt ceremony at the statue of the omnipresent god today to mark the 100th vision seized under the decree. And the 100th vision bearer in question, the one who will have their vision seized, I fear, is Toma.
Hold up a second. So the ceremony that Toma said the Tenryou Commission were busy preparing for, that was this vision hunt ceremony? And he was the target all along?
I believe so. The Shogun and the Tenryou Commission see the ceremony as a milestone. With the 100th vision, they wish to mark the success of the vision hunt decree to date. This cannot happen. I must go and rescue him.
Yeah, like it or not, you represent the whole Yashiro Commission. So if you go and pull a stunt like that, you're basically declaring you and the Raiden Shogun are enemies now, right? And by doing it so publicly, you might be implicating a lot of other people from the Yashiro Commission too.
There is no other option. I must act with haste. The ceremony is about to begin. I will not abandon Toma like this. He is my friend. To think that not long ago we were all eating hot pot together.
Yes.
But...
You must save him.
Okay, I'll wait here for your return.
I find
Get
it funny
back
that
safely.
I'm on top of our
Don't
text
worry,
that you're
Ayaka.
sending to them.
A friend's life is
Hell
on the
yeah.
line. We
The
ain't about to
monster.
mess this up.
But yeah, I've always just been into the whole horde, zombie thing, and Walking Dead just puts real characters in the situation. Now they have to erase the fact that they're zombies. Like that was like one of the rules, I guess, in the series is they have to pretend that they don't know what a zombie is. They have to react like organically.
To be fair, zombie is just German for undead.
It is, and people have heard probably the tale if you theoretically think it in that world, but they just have to pretend that they didn't know what it is. That was the only rule he made in the book, Robert Kirkman, when he made the comic books. But just to see people do anything in their power to try to save the people they care about or the people around them that they consider family. That's why I fell in love with the show. And some of my favorite characters of all time are from The Walking Dead. Like there's like at least 6 characters that are just so good, and that's just like me personally. And when I thought it was going to go stale, they changed it up. Or I thought that people became immortal. I felt or they wouldn't die. They changed it up. So they did a good job of pacing things, I thought, in the show.
Capable of using elemental energy without a vision. You are an exception, it appears. Exceptions. The enemy of eternity.
That's sick. Oh yeah, I'm still streaming.
You will be inlaid upon this statue.
Hello. And then she kills me and I die. Is this a fight? Oh, this is definitely a fight.
You are that which is furthest from eternity. Exceptional.
Shit. Let me change.
Off we go!
Rise.
This ends now.
Might
Stabilize.
not be a bad idea to get your shield on first.
This is order.
Expected. Right on.
Let's light it up!
Lightning falls on the land of eternity.
Oh wait, maybe I need to strike this time. That's fine, whatever.
That's gonna hurt in the morning.
Oh god, oh god. It's close.
Evasion is futile.
Lightning versus lightning. God, this guy.
She's immune to it.
I will mold you into the foundations of eternity.
Orders given. Orders received.
This ends now.
Faster? Okay, faster.
Everybody stand back!
Inferior. Strike dead. Evasion is futile.
Nothing to. Careless.
Oh. Life goes on.
Let's light it up! Off we go!
Solidify.
Instabilities will be removed.
Ow.
Not bad.
I feel like I saw that loot this fight. I'm like doing no damage there, really.
I don't know if you noticed, she locked your abilities.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I'll still
Strike
attack.
dead.
Well, that's what Chi-Chi's auto attacks are for. They heal your whole team.
Inferior. You face the lightning directly.
Don't even need abilities.
Yeah, I don't need abilities. There we go. I figured it was a duration fight.
I got Raiden Shogun down to like 5% HP, and then I almost won.
Yes, he cheated. Like, you can't do that.
Good boy, Toma.
Get the hell out of here.
Shogun, who was that?
Seize her under the decree. Next time, I will strike twice.
That's a line. Next time
Well-
I will strike twice.
Well, remember, one strike from her sword can cut an island in half.
In case you
It's also
forgot,
funny because she's
the
lightning
Komori tea
or
house is the
electricity
safest
and
place for me to hide in
lightning
this area.
strikes.
The only
Doesn't
thing
ever
is,
strike twice,
I
but if
probably
it
won't
does-
be able to leave
I
again
don't
for
know,
some time.
Exactly.
I'll have
cool
to leave the
line.
next steps to you. Go to Tatarasuna and find the resistance.
That was a cool fight.
The Shogun's
or
army
cool,
is almost certainly about to
cutscene.
issue a warrant
No,
for
but you
our
want to know
arrest.
what's funny?
There are very few parties that
Some
will be willing
people
to shelter us.
struggled
but
to get to that
resistance is
second
an
half of the
exception.
fight.
Hyman's pretty sure Ayaka mentioned
Oh, really?
it before. Oh yeah, Sanganamiya's group.
Yeah.
The ones
I
that
would've
came
struggled
together
if you
to fight
didn't
the
level me
Vision
up.
Decree.
Oh
right.
yeah. No,
The
but so it was
resistance
just really
founded by
funny. Like there was
Sangonomiya
one
Kokumi,
person.
the
They
divine priestess of Watatsumi Island.
they were just exploring
Currently,
the
it's
person's
her
world when they
subordinate
saw that
Goro,
Toma was
who
tied
leads
up
them in
there,
their
and then
war
like,
against the Shogun's
wait,
army.
However,
How long
the
is the limit
Yashiro
up there?
Commission
It's
is
like
not
3
on
months. I
especially
can't
close
beat her.
terms with the Resistance. So your dealings with us
Like,
would
he
normally
kept dying
be frowned
before
upon.
he got to the part where they
But
canceled the
you're different.
abilities.
Wow.
So
So
that
he didn't
shouldn't
get
work against you.
he
As
didn't
far
get a
as I can
chance
see,
to
the
like.
Resistance
If
shouldn't
you
have
die
any
after
reason
she
to turn you
cancels your
away.
abilities, it
The
still
only
counts
issue is
for
that
the
we can't be
cutscene.
sure of the Resistance Force's current location. You'll have to ask around along
You just
the
have
way.
to make it to that
You'll
point, and
likely
they just
pass through
weren't
territory
surviving that
occupied
long.
by the Shogun's army at some point.
Also,
So
you're
be sure to
really
stay on your
lucky that
guard
you
at all
just
times.
didn't level up to AR-50 yet.
I was thinking that.
Don't worry about it.
Because
I can
if you
remain
had gone
hidden
up
when
to
I want
AR-50, that
I
fight
won't
would
make
have
it easy
been
for them.
like 2 times harder.
The Terrio Commission could be right around the corner. Let's get out of here.
Nice. That's a fun thing to look forward to, getting my ass whipped again.
But I'm really, because I was pretty sure that was the next thing to happen after you finish those 2 quests, but I'm really glad that it was right then.
Yeah, no, I was like, that's a good cutoff point, to be honest with you.
Oh, well, go ahead and claim your adventure rank rewards.
Oh, okay. So you mean like finish the mission, or
Oh, go to the Adventurers Guild.
Yeah, I guess I thought you were maybe referring to. That's right here, right?
It's the little compass symbol.
Oh, yep, it is. Wait, you can teleport there? No, I didn't think so. I mean, you can, but you can't.
You get, but like you were already right, kind of
exactly.
right there.
That's why I was like, that really wasn't that. So that was pointless. There you are, Catherine.
Ad Astra Abbot.
All right. Ooh, nice.
Ad Astra Ab.
I'm gonna be busy tomorrow. Outside of streaming Genshin on my own, I'm also going to be oh yeah, make sure you do the 20-hour thing, not just the 4-hour thing.
Oh yeah. Thanks. I can't remember who I just grabbed.
Honestly, it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't, but
it was Beto. Yeah. Yeah, I've just been doing those because it's like you're getting more money and rocks, and that's all you really need right now.
Yeah. That's what I figured. Oh, so let's see who can go here. 20. Oh.
But yeah, so tomorrow I'm gonna have to spend some time getting all the materials to level up your guys to 80 or to 90. Now, like I've already got all the boss materials for them, but I gotta go get the actually, I think you can level up Zhongli and Chi-Chi. No, Zhongli. I think you can level up Zhongli now. But we don't have to worry about that right now.
Okay. All right. Oh wait, I want to check. I may have to finish this mission before this next mission opens up, maybe. All right. But yeah, I will stop it right there for the night. Oh, this is achievements.
Are you gonna check to see if you can make a pull?
Yeah. I don't think I
can you pull for yourself? That is the question.
No. Oh, unless I have these. Actually, I could, right?
Yeah, probably.
I get 3 of those. I could get 3. Oh, that's that one. Who's? Don't care. I'm not sure how hard it is to get the. Let's see where I am right now. Okay, I do need to do it. I guess I should just use it. Would one of these do? I'm trying to think. I didn't do the calculations correctly.
1176 versus 976.
Oh yeah, I can
it was 1140 versus 976, so you need.
I have enough now.
2.
Oh wait, do I want to do him? Yeah, I guess I should do him.
Yeah, that's fine.
Let's do this.
Do you want? Yeah, you're going for yourself.
Yeah. I kind of want jungly, but might as well try to get myself. My fox people need to stay together. Or at least a green-haired girl. Come on, green-haired girl.
Come on, Kali.
Is that her name?
Yeah. Kali, something like that.
Up, nope. Rain Slayer. I don't even know if that's good.
Not really.
Alright. And that will wrap up that. Alright.
Next stream, you can talk about Walking Dead all you want.
Oh, yeah. Alright. Let me do something. Let's see. Let's see if there's anybody on. Go away. Oh, yeah, we'll rate this person. We're going to be rating ArcLink. Actually, I guess I'm going to do Susie Quib. Like, I think it's that.
Oh, Susie Cupid.
Yeah, we'll do that. I know you know them. Ish. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks everyone for coming, and I will be seeing you later. We're going to be rating Susie Quib. All right. Have a good night. Bye-bye.